One of them fits for Hunchback, the other fits for Perfect Blue.
Go for the one that fits for Perfect Blue because I already have the Hunchback profile. William has the McGoogle profile, so you got to go with Perfect Blue, I'm afraid.
I'm so excited to hear you talk about your bullet points from Max Keeble.
Yeah, I kind of glossed over that in my when you were explaining it. I'm just like, yeah, bullet points, whatever. And then when William was just like, she did bullet points for Max Keeble, I'm like, oh, now it's starting to hit me. What the fuck does that mean?
She dissected the trailer for Max Keeble's big move.
I mean, if anyone's gonna do it's Olivia.
It's because I didn't know whether or not you were gonna get the I wasn't aware you were going to get the Hunchback DVD, and because I've watched these trailers so many times, there's kind of a charm to them.
Oh yeah.
So I made them kind of detailed just so you guys can be informed on them. But since you guys already know about it,
well, we've seen the movie,
right?
Yeah.
But now you got to tell the people. You brought it up. You have to be the one to bring it up now. So
I'm pretty sure I saw the trailer way back in the day, and then I saw the actual movie not too long after. And then I watched the movie again in college for the bit.
Yeah.
And now tonight we're all going to watch it for the bit.
You know, from this angle, it looks like both our icons are looking at the cat.
Good. It fits.
Now that's ugly.
McGoogles is me name. I like the sonky bug. You
don't remember the words.
When Quasi came to Egypt land.
Let my Quasi go.
And then he went to the Festival of Fools, and it was really fun until it wasn't.
The very end of that.
All right. Well, just basic things. I'll do the intro. I'll introduce you guys. I was thinking we would do Hunchback first, and then Perfect Blue second.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah. All right.
Wait, should I go to the bathroom beforehand?
You know what? Probably.
Yeah, probably. That's usually what I do.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. So unprofessional. My God.
Rude.
For comparison's sake, just before this, I did watch the Lon Chaney Hunchback.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's it's on Tubi.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's on Tubi, and it apparently is in my 50 horror movies pack, so that's good.
I have the Kino Lorre Blu-ray from 2 years ago.
Is it the Charles?
No, the Lon Chaney one.
Charles Marionette.
No, the 39 one, the one with sound. Is that Charles?
Yeah, that's the Charles Lawton one.
Yeah, that's the one I prefer. The silent one's just eh. Okay, I'll be.
Had to get in that silent movie slander. I see.
I mean, the movie's fine.
Yeah, it probably is.
Piano's better.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's more just impressive because of the sets and the makeup.
Yeah,
I like just the fact that oh yeah, Chaney's actually swinging around on that set that they actually had to build.
I would like to imagine there's a ton of silent movies out there that are no longer relevant because they had better versions remade years later. Where
I mean, they remade shit all the time because apparently this wasn't even the first Hunchback film.
Yeah, no, yeah, remakes have been around forever.
I mean, they made The Great Train Robbery, and then a year later they made The Great Train Robbery.
Exactly, yeah.
They did it immediately because they just didn't save this shit.
That, and also I would like to imagine is because technology at the time was fastly evolving.
Yeah. Like, you gotta remind, yeah, the 39 one's better, but also that's, over 10 years later. Duh.
Yeah, duh. And then, of course, later on, we get the Disney version, which I'm sure a lot of people would prefer.
Right, because they actually grew up with it for one.
Yeah, so it's how they were introduced to the story.
You're usually going to prefer the one you saw first, unless the first one you saw was bad.
Right, yeah. Although that's not true. Not always, at least, now that I think about it.
More often than not.
Right. Well, are we talking well, I guess if we're talking remake, that sort of thing, then I guess. I guess it really would depend.
If you unless you just didn't like the first one you saw, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine even if there were people who saw the 2005 King Kong first, they might prefer the 33 one anyway, just because the 33 one's only an hour and 40 minutes.
Actually, I can throw a wrench in your logic there. Actually, the logic that you don't actually care about, you just said it. But I do have a wrench in that. Dune, the very first Dune I ever saw was '84. It was bad, and then I eventually.
Oh yeah, that's what I said.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a wrench in what you're saying by proving you correct.
We can't out befuddle William. We try. We can't. It's impossible.
I feel like you befuddled yourself.
I did befuddle myself. I'm just trying to pass the time.
We said the same thing in different ways.
Are we recording our own audio? Or
No.
If you want to, but
Okay.
I don't care. I've been recording for 7 minutes now, so
Oh, you have?
yeah.
Yeah, he said this already.
Yeah.
Well, I
We already have
hear
the
it.
B-roll.
Yeah.
Which reminder, the B-roll is the only reason the Godzilla episode is the longest one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I'm going to include our discussion on the Lon Chaney Hunchback, but I'm not going to include the moment where I made a fool of myself.
Except for the fact that you just admitted you made a fool of yourself.
Yeah, so I'm not going to include it.
Okay, well, we can also mention it later.
Yeah, that's probably true too. So you know what? I might include it anyway. So take
Yeah.
that.
Take that, you.
Take that, me. Is there anything we need to discuss beforehand, or can I do the intro and introduce you guys?
No, we're not recording the episode. I changed my mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see you later.
See ya. Why are you all of a sudden quiet, Olivia?
Did I? Oh, it's because I plugged my mic in.
Oh, okay. That's probably why.
I mean, we could probably make her louder on our end.
I can.
Well, I'm a distance away because I'm taking pictures of the book right now.
Oh, okay.
We can also still just make you louder anyway.
Yeah, it's...
Or I could just yell.
No.
Okay.
You want to scream and shout?
And let it all out.
Scream and shout and let it out.
Now, how old is that song?
Old enough.
Yeah.
I don't.
All right. So you're at your length from the mic you want to be at.
No. Sorry.
Scream and Shout is a song by American recording artists Will I Am and Britney Spears, taken from the former's fourth studio album Willpower in 2012.
2012. Really? Huh.
Oh, I said that wrong. It's hashtag Willpower.
Oh, hashtag Willpower. Fuck you, Will I Am. Fuck. That is so 2012, putting hashtag in your fucking studio album. Fuck. That...
Why is that making you so mad?
That's so pretentious. Hashtag Willpower. That should...
I don't think that's pretentious. I feel like if anything, it's a meme.
It's obnoxious is what it is. I hate that shit.
Just for that, I'm going to change my name to hashtag Space Tree Studios.
Fine. Do it.
No. Because it's not even my name, fucker.
You got me there. Well, this is hashtag awkward.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Do I ever get to have an opinion?
Maybe.
I'm going to go with
Never.
William's answer because he gives me leeway to have my own opinion.
I'm giving him false hope.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Chef?
Good
Funny you
movie,
mentioned that.
Why is it funny, Hal?
Because I have actually.
You've seen Chef.
I have seen Chef.
That's good. You've seen Chef.
It is good that I've seen Chef because it's a good movie.
Episode 200. Chef.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Episode.
Can't believe James missed Chef Night.
That sounds like a James move.
He missed Chef Night. How could he?
He was too busy ordering salmon. No, wait, he didn't order salmon. That's right. He made it a point to say he did not.
He talked someone else out of ordering salmon.
Oh yeah. Talked Jess out of it.
Because he knew the ramifications of ordering salmon.
The ramifications of saying the word salmon in a funny voice.
I'm not going to be that person.
Oh, look! May I? Salmon?
How many more
Perfect
pictures,
example.
Liv? I'm waiting on you.
Oh, I'm already done.
Oh, okay. So, all right, let me listen to your audio.
Okay.
I'll just raise it a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
La 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 la.
La 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 la.
La chi did you.
Do 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 do.
Are you quite finished?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
She sounded so scared.
One more tomfoolery like that and you're off the cast.
Okay.
Well, shit.
Take that, you.
I'm just at a disadvantage tonight.
We're doing our own podcast now.
With blackjack and hookers.
Nah, that costs money.
Yeah. Well, you know how you get money. Blackjack.
You also lose money on blackjack if you're bad.
That is true, too, yeah. Okay, I think we've had enough fun. Okay, can we get into the episode now?
No.
Okay, well, all right, Mr. Smart Guy, do you want to do the intro?
Hello and welcome to Too Many Movies. We've all been here before. We're talking about movies.
Yeah, works for me. All right, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Olivia, start us off.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Should I start with like my Hunchback origin story?
William, start us off.
Okay.
It was a dark and stormy night. As we walked through the streets of Paris, we were being chased by a bunch of mad dogs and also Jack the Ripper, who might have been the Loch Ness Monster. And as we ducked into a corner, we found a copy of Hunchback of Notre Dame from Walt Disney Animation. And we opened the DVD case, and what we found will shock you. It was actually a copy of Perfect Blue, and that's our Hunchback origin story.
Yeah, it's a good origin story. I'm sorry, Olivia, start off however you want.
I was gonna say it was Hunchback of Notre Dame too.
You saw the
Oh, you saw the sequel?
Before the original.
No,
Oh,
I still haven't seen the sequel.
I just asked that. You saw the sequel first?
No, I haven't seen the sequel.
Oh, you've never seen the sequel. Okay.
You know, same. You know, the Blu-ray came with, because the Blu-ray, it's like the two movie packs, so like the Blu-ray has both movies on it, and then has a DVD of each of them.
Yeah.
I used the DVD for Hunchback 2 as a coaster for a while, because I had no plans to watch it.
No, why would
That's
you?
a good idea.
It's like, the Blu-ray has both of them on it anyway, and I'm not going to watch the second regardless. Though, I will get to it later, but I did have to switch to the second movie during this to like look at a bonus feature that was on the second movie, but not the first movie.
And it'll make sense later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Well, it won't make sense.
It'll make
It's kind of
dollars.
a weird bonus feature.
Yeah.
It does have to do with Jason Alexander, though.
Oh, that one. Okay, then. Yeah.
And we have plenty to talk about with Jason Alexander, don't we?
We have
and how he almost lost his kneecaps.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
How do we structure things again? I forget.
We kind of just do whatever. So basically,
Okay. Do we just talk about? I guess. Yeah. Hunchback origin stories, like how we first heard about the movie and our first experience watching it. I guess.
Yeah. So Olivia, what's yours?
Mine's kind of long because I'm not kidding. This movie was literally my personality trait in high school.
Wait, more so than Kung Fu Panda 2?
Oh yes, definitely.
Oh, okay then.
See, Hunchback of Notre Dame Free is going to be the one where Quasi becomes a black belt.
Sure.
Okay, at first it wasn't my origin story. I think I first watched it when I was like 10 years old. My aunt and I watched it back when Disney movies were on Netflix. And I didn't really get it. I was just kind of confused by it. I'm like, Frollo, Phoebus, and Quasimodo are weird names. And I was just like,
French.
I don't get it. And I remember at the end, like the end part, I was like, ugh, finally. But then, I think it was about 2 years later, I kept watching these top 10 videos, like top 10 Disney villain songs. And of course, just about all of them had Hellfire. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll rewatch it. And I rewatched it on my super teeny tiny iPhone SE and like the movie. And that's when I fell in love with it. And the thing was, I didn't rent it or anything. It's actually still up on YouTube, but someone uploaded the entire movie scene by scene in 1080p like 10 years ago. So I watched it scene by scene and I fell in love with it that way.
So,
and I'm pretty sure I watched it again like a day or two after.
So let me get this straight. You fell in love with the film by watching it on your fucking telephone.
Yeah.
Get real.
It'd be so funny if it was like a rotary phone with a screen.
Yeah.
Like they should invent that.
The-
It'd be the most useless thing ever, but I would want one.
I feel like you could go back to like shows from like the 80s or 90s, and whenever they had like a future episode and they would show rotary dial-up phones but with screens on them. I'm sure that's a thing.
It's like how the future never foresaw the advent of widescreen TVs.
Yeah. Well, William, what's your origin story with Hunchback?
So very first time I heard of the movie, I want to say, because this is what it said on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I saw one of the trailers for the physical release on the VHS for Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
And like they always, in all the trailers for Hunchback, they play up the fun and color so much of the movie that it just makes it look like it's a big wacky comedy. Spoiler, not really.
You know, to
Like,
some
that was, like,
people
the
it
first-
might be a silly comedy.
And,
the
like-
directors actually commented about that, how they really had to play it up, saying it's a festival for the movie when it wasn't.
And like that was like my first time I heard about it. But like back then, we didn't really get a lot of movies at home very often. It was like the only chance we really got were like birthdays and Christmas, and then like whenever we go to Blockbuster. Thing is, whenever I went to Blockbuster, I was looking at the video games, not really the movies, because it's like, well, like not going to be back here for like another week. I watch a movie, and that's only like for one day, but the video game I can play the whole week. And like we only went to the Blockbuster in the summer, so you know that.
No, that sounds like solid logic.
So like my own exposure to it was just that trailer. So like kind of went through my brain and then out, because then we watched Toy Story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Wait, I have a question.
can you have a question?
I'll allow
I'm not answering that question because you know the answer to that already.
I'm
You
kidding,
know what
there
that
used-
is.
There used to be one near me. I was kidding.
Yeah, correct. So anyway,
That was my attempt at dating you guys.
no, I saw for your ruse.
Yeah, we may be old. We're not stupid.
You were alive when Blockbuster existed. The Falco
Yeah.
Amiibo was a Blockbuster Mexico exclusive. I think. So anyway, so then years go on, and then it wasn't until the internet happened, and then I watched the Nostalgia Critic Disney December video.
Oh,
You can
right.
probably fill in the blanks that seeing him talk about. I'm like, okay, I should probably actually watch this movie at some point. So I remember I got my sister to get the movie off of Netflix DVD by mail.
Ooh.
Oh yes, I'll agree for that too.
Oh.
And I remember because the Little Caesars by our house just opened at that point. So we had Little Caesars while watching The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Wow.
nice.
This was the mid-2010s, by the way. So it sounds like this is happening a lot older than it actually was.
I was gonna say Netflix DVD was definitely a 2000s thing, but
But they still had it during
Okay.
the streaming age.
Yeah.
I used it during the 10s.
Like, my sister didn't get rid of it until, like, right before it actually ended. We had it the whole time, technically.
Right. Yeah.
And she'd
Wow.
still use it every now and then for things that weren't actually on streaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that was the first time I actually finally watched the whole thing in full. And then, of course, when I started getting my own collection, then I did actually just get the Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Along with, I'm thinking the same order I had both that and the Gold Collection DVD for Goofy Movie. Because up until the Disney Movie Club Blu-ray, you could not get Goofy Movie in any other way. And also, now that Disney Movie Club is done, you can only get Goofy Movie on that DVD again.
Yeah.
Unless you want to buy it off of eBay at inflated prices. I don't even know how much that's going to cost you on eBay.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Don't depress me.
I'm going to depress you.
Oh my god. Every day.
Doesn't he always?
Yeah, he does.
By the way, I typed, okay, well, Extremely Goofy Movie is going for 44.
Oh god.
I don't like what I'm seeing for the regular movie.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you a number and then ask you over and under?
Yes.
Sure.
60.
Over.
Over under.
Over.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you another number.
Okay.
80. Over under.
Over.
Over.
Okay, so I'm seeing one for 80 exactly, one for 98, one for 109, one for 149.99.
Oh, stop.
There's one that's selling both them together for 150.
Ugh.
What a steal.
In that
And
they're
then there's a copy
stealing my
of
youth.
Beverly Hills Ninja for $30. Thank you, Chris Farley. What the fuck is Woody Allen Bananas?
Don't answer that.
I don't feel like it.
Okay, good.
So yeah, so I do own Hunchback on Blu-ray. It was one of the early ones when my collection was first starting out, when it was mostly Godzilla movies and then Repo the Genetic Opera.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, that's that history. I used the DVD copy of Hunchback 2 as a coaster for a while because I had no plans on watching the DVD of Hunchback 2.
Amazing.
So, Olivia, you know how I was making fun of you earlier for saying that Hunchback 2 was your introduction, but it wasn't actually?
Mm-hmm.
So actually, my introduction was to Hunchback was Hunchback 2.
Oh,
How you're canceled.
The trailer for Hunchback 2 was my introduction to Hunchback. Because it was on the VHS copy I had of Emperor's New Groove, and I have that whole Hunchback 2 trailer like lodged in my memory when I was about to watch Emperor's New Groove. And
just like how McGoogle's lodged into my memory, but we'll get to him later.
Yes, exactly like
is it
McGoogle.
the same one that's on the Hunchback DVD?
Yes, that one too. Well, actually, because it said coming 2002, and then this Hunchback DVD that we have, I think it says now available. So that's like the one difference.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, that was my introduction to figuring out what Hunchback is, and then I remember watching it years later. I think I also watched it when it was available on Netflix. I had to have been like 12, 13, 14. I was still kiddish, but I wasn't like teenager or something like that. But yeah, I watched it. I liked it. And then subsequent watches, I've grown to love it a little more for it actually being genuinely a very special Disney film, I think.
I guess we should just get into that real quick now. All of us like this movie.
Yes.
Correct.
I think it's in all of our favorites list.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the attitude we're dealing with today. What's that? A full positive episode? Spoiler, we like both of these movies.
Yeah, exactly. There's no arguing here.
I will just say, I think you guys should be very thankful you didn't know me in high school, because I was so annoying during my Hunchback phase.
Yeah.
I feel like all of us can say that to some degree.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
No one likes themselves from high school.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because we like you now because...
Well...
Well, we didn't know you when you were in high school, so...
Right, yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, so I'll give you an example. So my friends and I used to go to Disneyland a lot after school, and on Haunted Mansion, there's a scene with Madame Leota. She's in the crystal ball, and she's just saying like random chants. She mentions a tambourine, and I'll say like, "Whoa, it's like Esmeralda's tambourine," and then a bell rings. And I'm like, "Oh, it's bells of Notre Dame."
Oh, Olivia, no.
Oh, so you did the thing we do as a joke, but unironically.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't understand how my friends put up with me, but I'm so thankful for them.
Because they were teenagers and thus were also annoying at the same time, just in different ways.
Yeah. And then I guess I'll mention that there's we're not even talking about the movie yet, but there's next to no representation of Hunchback in Disneyland. Because the only Disney parks I've been to are Disneyland and California Adventure. And the only Hunchback related thing in Disneyland is this music box that you spin, and it plays Topsy Turvy. And every time my friends and I would go to Disneyland, I'm like, guys, can we go to the music box? Can we go to the music box? And they started making fun of me for it. I'm sending a picture right now. This was the time I bought like my first Hunchback pin at Disneyland. I took a picture of it with the music box. But you basically spin it, it plays Topsy Turvy, and then inside there's a bunch of Easter eggs of other Disney characters. Like I know Mr. Smee is in there, and I think Tinkerbell.
I mean,
it's actually pretty neat.
Granted, what would you make a Disney ride out of Hunchback like, you know?
You could probably do like some kind of like coaster like going through the bell tower because they have like the aqueducts and stuff.
Sure.
Maybe it won't be an actual coaster, but like one of those motion sim things. Like you see, like you go with Quasi and the Gargoyles, like swinging through the cathedral, going down the aqueducts. It would end with like maybe like the molten leads coming down.
I've watched the movie with director's commentary, and they dubbed the part where Frollo was hallucinating about the monks, like the red hooded monks. They dubbed it Frollo's Wild Ride, so it could probably be a riff on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
I mean,
Was
the
there actually-
lazy answer is to just do a tilt-a-whirl for the Festival of Fools and call it the Topsy-Turvy.
You have
And
a
there actually is a scene in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride where they're in hell and the room actually heats up, so it would be perfect.
ride where you're being chased by Frollo trying to sniff you.
Or that.
Fun for the whole family.
Family picture.
Maybe they do like an Esmeralda live show of her dancing.
Ooh.
She actually did. Oh, there actually was a Hunchback live show, like back in the 90s, I think.
To promote the movie.
Yeah, it was like 90s, 2000-ish. I was too young to remember it. And then they closed it down for like corporate picnics and stuff. And then they shut it and tore it down entirely. And now it's Galaxy's Edge.
I feel like Hunchback is one of those things where like a lot of its appreciation has been within the last decade from like our group.
Yeah.
So like it would only probably, if anything, start getting stuff around now. Like the same thing happened with Goofy Movie, where
Right.
it was like absolutely nothing forever, but then like we all grew up, we're the ones that actually like the movie, and now they have to cater to us for this kind of thing. So like now you can find Goofy Movie stuff like Hot Topic and Target pretty often enough, not all the time, but often enough. And like they'll make like merch and references. I feel like something could be done with Hunchback now. I think if there's any real issues, it is just a matter of the religious theming, which honestly on rewatch isn't even that overbearing or present.
No, I think it's done.
There.
I think it's done tastefully
but-
for what it is. Yeah, the
Yeah,
religious elements.
It's there, but it isn't that big of a deal
right?
as we make it out to be.
But the fact that it exists, period, I think does make it a
Has
little
character
awkward.
like Frollo, period.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why I had such a hyperfixation with the music box, because of course that was like just before it's, I think, yeah, it was really like it is still only the only Hunchback representation in Disneyland, and I was, I guess, grateful for that. But now, because it kind of has a cult following, and because of its 25th anniversary, it has so much more merch, so it's being a little more prominent, and I'm thankful for that. But
Yeah.
it's pretty similar to Goofy Movie.
Now, granted, maybe it's a good thing it doesn't get a ton of representation, so then it's not overproduced by Disney. Like, I think I prefer it to be this special little dark film than for it to be overblown and over commercialized.
I mean, I feel like we could still do a little more than what we're doing now.
Sure.
Like, I'd say do it a step under Goofy Movie.
Yeah.
So that way it shows up enough that it doesn't feel forgotten, but enough that it's also still special when something does happen.
Yeah.
More than
Mm,
just the
perfect.
only merch I own of it is the one Quasimodo Happy Meal toy I got at a flea market once.
Explain that, please.
I explained
Oh,
it by
wait, I
saying
think I have that one.
No. What is a Quasimodo Happy Meal toy?
it's the little figure of Quasimodo. Okay, it's not the one that's showing up there, but like, yeah, that one there. Hang on, let me post that. It's like the little action figure doll thing. Is like his head and arms and legs move, and that's about it.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
I have
This
I
guy.
have an entire shelf of Hunchback of Notre Dame stuff. I call it my shrine. I'll take a picture of it later.
Oh, that's just so funny to me that McDonald's had a fucking Quasimodo toy at one point.
Oh, hang on. This is saying this is the Burger King toy.
You
never
know,
mind.
Burger King, McDonald's, just have a
They
children's toy regardless.
have Frollo ones. I have it.
Oh,
I'll take a picture of it later, but it's somewhere. I have it.
hey
Here's
kids.
the full Burger King lineup.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's the Frollo and Clopan one I have. And then I think I have a different version of Phoebus.
Hey kids, have a burger with Frollo, your favorite sexual predator.
The The McDonald's ones, on the other hand, because McDonald's also had the movie at one point.
Oh.
Okay. Okay,
Oh.
that's telling. Okay, so Burger King probably had it when the movie was in theaters. McDonald's had it when it came out on video.
Okay. Fucking paper masks. That's so funny.
You want the Clopon mask?
More than anything.
You want the juggling balls?
I'm gonna sell my house and everything, every one of my possessions, just to get it.
You know, the Hugo horn must be the most obnoxious thing ever.
Yeah.
We've gone this far and not talked about the actual movie itself.
I mean, that's par for the course for this podcast.
Yeah, and especially with William.
Yeah.
I mean, we established our origins with the movie. We did all the groundwork.
Yeah.
And we got to do the groundwork so we have a foundation to build the cathedral that we can then climb up top of.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
so
then
put
clean
that
the
in your
shit.
lead pipe and smoke it with molten. There was an attempt at something there.
It was molten, you asshole.
Oh, you've seen Chef.
I have seen Chef.
You know, the student
Really?
learns from the master, and the master learns from God.
That is true.
And God is the person that Frollo uses as an excuse to kill people,
Yeah.
but God doesn't like that.
Not particularly.
Yeah, God's not really a fan of killing people.
Depending on the story.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of cringe.
All right. Well, Olivia, if you really want us to get into the movie, why don't you start by leading the conversation on the opening the opening song?
Okay. The opening is The Bells of Notre Dame.
Well,
and I think
duh.
well, yeah.
No, you have to say that in the voice of the guard.
No.
No, him.
It's yes, the opening is The Bells of Notre Dame, and I think personally, I think it's better than The Circle of Life. I think it's the best Disney opening.
Ooh, interesting.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I can't.
I never really compared it to other Disney openings. I just kind of looked at it in a vacuum. I'll say that it's probably one of my favorite motifs for film, like
Oh,
as a
yeah.
theme throughout a film.
Yeah, I think
Because
yeah,
that melody is just omnipresent throughout the whole movie, and it's just so memorable. Like they even use it again for the villain song, which of
As
course
one
we'll
the
get
first
into.
things I learned on piano.
Yeah, I watched a video earlier today of Alan Menken and Steven Schwartz talking about how they were coming up with some of the music. And like the way they came up with Hellfire's melody was like they just kind of like said that to that tune when they're just casually and like, hey, that works. Because they had a different thing they were writing they weren't really happy with.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're kind of
I'll
getting
have to
ahead of
look at
ourselves now.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you want to keep going?
Sure.
You sound
So-
unsure of yourself. Okay, Hal, you go. No.
I'm not the host of this podcast.
yeah. William is.
Apparently, I'm the
Yeah.
host of this podcast. Actually, you know what? Mordo's the host now. Mordo, join the call right now. Yeah, Mordo, get in here right now.
Get in here, you little
Ben, get
scam.
here.
Ben, get in
Ben,
here.
get over here. Yeah, hey, Ben.
Yeah.
The Ben of Notre Dame.
The Ben of Notre Dame. James, get in here. No, actually, James is not allowed. 'Cause funny.
No, we have a different plan for James next month.
Not yet, Minion. Not yet.
Okay, I will say, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but it's the voice of Clopin, Paul Candle. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Sure.
He's such a good singer. I love him. I don't even know where to begin with him.
Well, he can hit those high notes really well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw on the Wikipedia earlier today that they actually like special mention him hitting that note at the end of the song.
Mm-hmm.
I pronounced that word wrong on purpose for the joke, by the way.
And that's why I didn't acknowledge it. I thought it'd be funnier if we didn't acknowledge it.
Okay, then edit this part out then.
Okay. One thing I really like about the opening, actually, is that it seems as though Frollo is the only one not singing it. It seems as though everybody else is singing it. And it just kind of...
Mostly.
Yeah, but it does kind of make him separate from the rest of the characters in that one sequence, and it's like something you don't really pick up on until multiple viewings. And it also just kind of adds a level of creepiness to it as well, because then there's that scene when after he's kicked Quasimodo's mother and he is about to drop Quasimodo down the well. Family picture.
Family picture.
I love, and then it cuts to, and then the Archbishop is saying that, you know, you can cover up you can pretend you didn't do anything wrong, but you can't do that when the eyes of Notre Dame are watching you. And then it cuts to all these different angles of all the statues looking down at Frollo, and it's it really fills you with so much dread seeing those like I don't know how they were able to get the eyes to look as creepy as they do, but they really do look so creepy.
Okay, I do have something about that. So I've watched the director's commentary for this multiple times. It's so good. So it's with the two directors, Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise, and then the producer Don Hahn. And they actually mentioned the thing about like the statues. And they mentioned that if you look pretty closely, there's a shot of Mary holding baby Jesus, and then there's a flash of lightning. And when that flash of lightning happens, her eyes snap open.
Yeah.
And they actually they led up to it saying like it's gonna happen right now, it's gonna happen right now, and then when it actually happened, they all fake screamed. Like, it's a really good commentary. They have such great banter together, and it's a really fun watch.
That is absolutely something I would do.
I watched the commentary once, but it was years ago, so I don't remember every detail.
I still have a handful of things. Oh, like the name of Frollo's horse. His name is Snowball. That's canon.
Can I just say, I love when a villain, whether a Disney villain or a villain in general, has an evil horse of their own, and it's just like this dark colored horse that has like an angry face. It's just like that's great. I can we do that more often? Just have the villains have evil horses too. Like, that's great.
Especially if they have red eyes.
Yeah, the red eye. Extra credit if red eyes are involved.
And the name of the horse is Nightmare.
You know what? The name can be anything, and I would be satisfied. Like, I love that it's Snowball. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
The joke is that a horse is a mare.
No, I got the joke.
Yes.
No, you didn't. Okay, fine. Edit that out.
Well, isn't a mare a female horse?
One of them.
Yeah.
So it can still. That doesn't matter. It can be a girl horse.
Girl horses can be evil.
Yeah. Tony, it was a horse.
Tony, she was a horse.
Well, great. Now we can't edit it out. We made a Sopranos joke. Fuck. Only I can sabotage myself.
Keep going, Olivia.
I didn't have anything else.
Oh, okay.
Like and also because Clopon's one narrating the whole thing. He is the one that transitions into being the Archbishop.
Oh, dude!
That flash of lightning that transitions from him to the Archbishop. Like the transition of the voice into the Archbishop's voice is very seamless.
Oh, dude, that transition it goes so hard. That is one of my favorite transitions in a Disney film. It is done perfectly.
And another thing I forgot to mention, when you guys talk, I suddenly get like a bunch of like factoids that pop in my. Anyway, so actually, the Bells of Notre Dame was originally supposed to be spoken the entire time. And they didn't like that. Like the directors didn't like that because it was so dry. And I don't know who came up with it being a song, but eventually it became a song, and that's how we got it today.
So they didn't intend for a Disney film to be narrated through song?
Correct.
And then they realized it's a musical, dumbass.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Was the production of Hunchback troubled in any way?
Not that I know of. I just know that technically the movie's not based on the Victor Hugo novel. It's based on a graphic novel version. I think it was like, I don't know his name, but I think it was the head of story. He was like really inspired by it as a child, and that's when he pitched it to Disney.
More so than okay, yeah. I mean, I would imagine, I've never read the Victor Hugo novel, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this movie is very different from it.
Well, in the original book, I think fucking everyone dies.
Right.
Everyone except Phoebus. And Phoebus was a creep.
Right. So this sounds horrible. No, it does, I mean, it probably better. It's probably good in its own different way. It's just considering.
It's just you can't really do that for a Disney movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And people will say that like this is such a different adaptation for them to do, but like I think like it's only really because a lot of what Disney adaptations are like fairy tales and like short stories usually,
Yeah.
where they get to like add a whole lot. With this is like a Jungle Book situation where it's a whole ass novel. So now we have to actually cut things. There are characters who are missing in this version that were in other versions.
Yeah, but I think
They've like combined some things.
I think considering what we got as a final product, I think they did what they had to, and it worked out in the long run.
They kept more than they did for Jungle Book, at least.
Yeah.
Because Jungle Book, that was a situation of they threw out basically everything except for like the absolute most basics of this is Baloo, he is a bear. This is Mowgli, he was raised by wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, Jungle Book's not that bad, but that's not what this episode's about.
Yeah. So I've technically read the book, and I'm saying technically because I think I read about half of it, and I just haven't picked it up again. I actually did a book report on it in like sophomore year of high school, and I got like a pretty good grade on it. But the thing is, the story about Quasimodo and all that isn't the main focus. It's mainly just Victor Hugo yapping about French architecture.
Correct. That's the meme.
Yep. Because I've watched Lindsay Ellis's video so many times. She has a video essay on Hunchback and like all its adaptations. But she said that at that point, architecture kind of lost its meaning, and the novel was becoming more prominent, and Victor Hugo was afraid that stuff like cathedrals like Hunchback or the cathedrals like Notre Dame was gonna just disappear, like that language of it. So, because I remember there was a quote in the book that said, "This will kill that. The book will kill the edifice." So he basically did a book. The Quasimodo stuff is basically the side plot, but the main focus of the book is just save French architecture.
Oh my god!
And it kind of worked.
What a fucking nerd!
So the conceit is that they were afraid that like books would become like the dominant form of media. Spoiler: they were the only form of media over things like actual like going to like live places for things. Correct?
Right. And Victor Hugo basically saw architecture as like the original universal language.
See, because like the point I was gonna say was that like the reason why it's like that is because back in that day, books were the only form of media, so like you could just make a book as long as you want, and you'd just fill it with everything, and like just fully like you would get like chapters and chapters of just them saying, "Here's what this street looks like. Here are these houses and everything," before you even get to the actual story. Because that was all you had for media. Whereas nowadays we have books competing with movies, TV shows, video games, comics, manga. That's like, no, get to the story. Only reveal the information when it's actually relevant.
I'm sorry.
So it's like you have to like. There you go.
He didn't want people to not visit Notre Dame because they would read about it in a book. So he wrote a fucking book to be like, oh, you should actually visit Notre Dame. You should go to Notre Dame. What?
Well, I think it's more just like architecture in general that they would like stay in more, and then instead of like traveling and seeing all these beautiful locations, or that like they would just stop building things like that, which they did.
When did he write this book?
1835.
Oh yeah, were vacations a huge thing in 1835?
Probably.
Among who? The upper class?
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Among the upper class. Fuck you, Victor. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
But without him, we wouldn't have this movie. So I mean,
fine.
We also wouldn't have. Wasn't he also Tale of Two Cities, or
no, that was Darwin?
What was he again?
No.
Victor Hugo was something else. Oh, he was Les Mis, right?
Yeah, Les Mis.
Les Mis, right.
Look, all I'm saying is we got to shove Victor Hugo into a locker.
Well, I think God did that for us already.
Good. All right. Then I'm contempt.
Works for me, I guess.
And like, because right before this, I did watch the 1923 silent film with Lon Chaney, and
Mid.
I think it's perfect. I think it's fine. It's just obviously there are better adaptations at this point. The most notable thing about the film is just Chaney's makeup and just the fact that they actually had to build that fucking giant cathedral thing, and Lon Chaney is actually swinging around it.
And
neat.
It's just over 100 years old now.
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't. I think it's genuinely impressive that what they accomplished with it. I just think that as far as how they're actually telling the story and everything, Phantom of the Opera is better. So anyway, my point was more a matter of I need to remember my point now, what I was actually saying.
You have a condition.
Yeah, the
That's a
condition is
shame.
you guys.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That version, how do I want to say this is the question.
It's a product of its time.
Not really even that. What were we talking about before? Okay, we're talking about the original book was talking about the architecture.
And when I say he's yapping, I mean it is pages upon pages
Yeah.
about details of one single building.
Oh my god.
And
Yes.
that's like the novel basically just cuts back and forth between one chapter will be about the architecture, and then the next chapter will be about not really Quasimodo, it'll probably be like Esmeralda.
Right, I remember my point.
Yeah.
So, like, in the Disney version, Quasimodo is undoubtedly the main character, but
Yes.
in the Lon Chaney film, there are stretches where Quasimodo just does not matter because there are multiple characters that we have to establish. Like, Clopon's doing his own thing, Claudio's doing his own thing, Jehan exists for a little bit. Then you have to establish what Phoebus is doing with his fiance, then he then dumps for Esmeralda. Here's what Esmeralda's doing.
Yeah.
So it's like there really isn't a main character in the original book. So this version has to cut things down and simplifies it so there's actually a character we are rooting for the entire time, which I think more modern audiences will find more effective.
So it took a century and a half for the Hunchback of Notre Dame to be about the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm furious right now from learning about the history of Hunchback of Notre Dame.
It's a very condensed version. There were a couple other adaptations in between, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the point is this version simplifies things and makes it so that you have like a core group of characters so we know what they are doing and to follow the plot along at a brisk pace because there's no filler in this movie.
No.
Okay, well, you can argue a guy like me, but I wouldn't go that far. Whereas in the original, it's like, it feels almost like vignettes that then halfway through finally come to a plot to follow. With Esmeralda being accused of killing Phoebus, who's actually dead yet. At least that's in the Lon Chaney film. I don't know if that's in the book or not.
It is.
I honestly
Okay.
think the pacing in the movie is really good. Like,
Yeah, the pacing in the Disney film was great.
how long is the film? It's
Hour 100 minutes, I think.
91 minutes according to the DVD. Yeah, and it went by fairly quickly. I'm just like, wow, this is told exactly how it needs to be. Yeah, no filler.
Yeah.
I'm not even like, yeah, I guess you could make the argument that the gargoyles in general are filler, but
even then, that serves a purpose that we'll get to later.
yeah, they do serve a purpose. It's not like I guess you could cut them out, but I feel like there is something there that they bring to the table that
it's related to Quasimodo's character for something I'll get to later in talking about like the love square with Esmeralda.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you got that from Doug Walker's video.
Yeah, so did all of us.
I didn't remember. I have a condition.
I don't think you're telling the truth. I think you're lying.
Lying about what?
That you didn't remember. I think you did remember.
I don't remember.
Oh no, Leatherface, what do you have to say about this?
Leatherface.
Such a way with words.
Yeah, Leatherface is our best guest we've ever had on the show.
He's a good guest. Thank you, Leatherface.
He's
very
the best
cool.
guest. So, why don't we talk about the gargoyles now that we brought them up?
Okay, so, well, should we just talk about all the characters first?
No, let's talk about the gargoyles first. That's funnier.
Okay, Jason Alexander is in this movie.
Yes, he is.
And boy, does he live in a society. Well, he lives above the society, if anything.
Yeah.
The reason why the gargoyles feel like such Walmart versions of genies because this was the movie to go into production after Aladdin, so...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, look, when it comes to Disney comedic sidekicks of the 90s, are the gargoyles the levels of Genie and Timon and Pumbaa? Absolutely not.
No.
No.
But...
I don't think they're that bad either.
I actually
though.
think they were kind of funny this time. I was like,
Really?
they're not that bad. Look, they're not the best part of the movie. Obviously not. They are easily the weakest part of the film, but I don't think the comedy is that bad. Now, maybe that's just me and my
I think
love.
it's more of a problem towards the climax, but like in the
Yes.
first half of the movie, I think it's okay at best. It's fine.
But even then,
It's not overbearing.
I am a fan of cringe humor. So
Yeah.
when something is
I feel
noticeably
like-
cringe, I do kind of connect with that because I think it's funny.
I think I'm just gonna come out and say that I feel like a lot of the tone problems people are saying about how like, oh, it's a lot of mood whiplash. I feel like that's a lot of overblown. Like,
Mhm.
sure, it's there, but I don't think it's there to the degree that people have made it out to be.
Yeah, where they think like parts of this movie are ruined because of that tone shift. When it's like,
And ultimately, it's also like the gargoyles really aren't even in the movie that much.
no,
Yeah.
They're like in the beginning when it's in, because like once we get like outside of the cathedral, well, they literally can't be anywhere else. So like, they're not in there.
yeah,
They're not at the festival. They're not in the Court of Miracles. They're not out and about Paris.
they're not in Hellfire.
Imagine if they were in Hellfire.
I would love that actually.
What if they did like a Hunchback of Notre Dame 1.5, where
And you just have the Free Gargoyles like riffing on the movie.
yeah,
It's like, damn, getting hot in here when he sees Esmeralda in the fire.
Frollo thinks he has it bad with Esmeralda. I can't get the goat to fuck me.
okay, can I just I said it earlier, but like Hugo is most definitely gay. And the thing is, going back to the original novel, Jolly is actually in the book, but the goat is actually a female. So I mean, good for her. But she transitioned to a male goat in the movie, so
Hugo's gay, got it. Very
Yeah.
progressive Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I also want to fuck a goat. Thank you, Disney, for making me
Oh.
feel seen.
don't clip that.
There's the ghost song "Kiss the Go Goat" is about how Satan is very horny and wants to fuck you.
Cool.
So basically, Hugo would be a Ghost fan today.
That sounds about right.
And
I mean-
are you guys surprised that Jolly is not a Disney OC?
I don't think I really, no, because the poster for the 23 version shows Esmeralda the goat.
Right. But she's in the novel.
Yeah, you know what that is? I get maybe that's why Disney wanted to do it. They're like, hey, this comes with an animal sidekick already.
That's all we need.
Yeah, that's all we need. Make the movie.
I mean, because I'm pretty sure they also say like parts of why they wanted to do a movie in the commentary, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. I remember like when I did watch it years ago, they like called a special mention to like one of the sequences they really wanted to do was Quasimodo swinging down, grabbing Esmeralda, and then going back up to the top of the cathedral, holding her over his head, going sanctuary. That was like one of the big scenes they really wanted to do in the movie.
Well, they did kind of do that.
I mean, they literally did do that.
Yeah, they literally
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best sequences in the movie.
Ugh,
It's like
so
that's one of your
good.
big driving forces to make the movie. Just so you can capture that moment.
I think we could mention the blend of 2D and 3D. So
Please
That's something
do.
that's something they've been doing like throughout the 90s too. Like
Right.
one of the biggest things was like in the Stampede scene of Lion King, they have like as you get further back in the Stampede crowd, there were CG. Well, it's because it'd be really difficult and stupid to have to like hand draw all of them.
Yeah.
right.
And
So
that-
they've been doing that
Mhm.
throughout. So then here in Hunchback,
Yeah, they were doing it with the crowd shots at the Festive Fools, and then
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it. Well, the reason why I mentioned it was because of that one shot of. I think it
when
is just
Clopin
really
and
funny.
Quasio like walking towards the screen.
I think it's mainly the shot of when Quasimodo goes up, like brings Esmeralda up over his head into sanctuary, and the way the camera pans around. Like I think that might have been like a 3D camera, but like just the way the camera moves, like just the cinematography of the movie is spectacular.
That does harken back to when
Yeah.
they had the shot in Beauty and the Beast when like it's during the Tale as Old as Time shot
That was
where
3D.
yeah, that was 3D. But I feel like that
Yeah.
was more seamless in Beauty and the Beast, whereas in Hunchback it feels a little more obviously. Well, not to say that I feel like that shot is definitely the best in the movie. I think what I'm more so going for is, when you see the PS1 graphic people in the background.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, because the most prevalent use of it is there's a shot of Clopin and Quasi walking towards the camera, and they just have one of the 3D women right in front.
Is it during the Festive Fools or near the end of the movie?
During the festivals.
Uh-huh.
It is so obvious, and it's so adorable.
I love it.
It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because otherwise it's like you can't animate all of them by hand. Because the other option is just have them be still images, and that's even more noticeable.
Especially if it's a festival, so...
Yeah, so it's like, I fully get why you would do it. And, like, it's one of those things that you're not going to notice unless someone points it out to you.
Exactly.
But when someone points it out to you, you're going to notice it every time.
Just can't unsee it.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
It's camp.
No, camp would be Pocahontas, because they have to set up camp.
True.
Did we mention that in any of these episodes that the first instance of CGI blending with a 2D animated Disney film was Great Mouse Detective?
It was Black Cauldron, actually.
Nah.
Take that, William. It was Black Cauldron.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, William. It was the movie that lost to Care Bears in its second weekend.
Well, okay, the first good movie to do it was The Great Mouse Detective.
That I can agree with. I love
Okay,
Great Mouse
fine.
Detective.
Got him.
I haven't even seen Black Cauldron, so...
You haven't seen Great Black Cauldron?
What they
You
use
know
it
what I
in for
meant.
Black Cauldron?
Have you seen Black Mouse Detective?
You know what I meant.
What did they use it for Black Cauldron?
I think it was during the I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. I just heard that it was in Black Cauldron. I think it was during the zombie scene. Like, I know the Horn King has an undead army. And the smoke, I know there's a shot of the Black Cauldron, like there's smoke coming out of it, and that looks pretty digital, so.
And that smoke is used in Beauty and the Beast.
Is it?
Yeah, it's when the Beast transforms back into a human and he's floating back down to the castle and you see smoke everywhere. That smoke was used in Black Cauldron.
Oh.
See, I know things too.
Okay, smart Alec.
But like, was a 2D character interacting with them directly?
That's, again, I haven't seen the movie, so.
So it didn't happen. Sorry, Olivia, you're wrong.
Because I think that's why the people would point out a Great Mouse Detective for it, because they actually have to like climb on the gears.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so it was probably more prominent in Great Mouse Detective.
It's also like the big climactic scene of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up real quick for what the thing with Mouse Detective actually was, why it was a big deal.
I mean, because they were using computer graphics at that time.
Right, but there's like there was some kind of like, okay, they just say it was the first Disney film to extensively use it.
Yeah, okay.
So, also in that same paragraph, guess who is listed in there?
Who?
Katzenberg?
Guess who helped animate the interior of Big Ben?
Oh.
Tim Burton?
Our boy, Phil Nibelink.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes! Let's go, baby. Let's go.
So take that, Black Cauldron. We have Phil.
Man, I was completely wrong. I said Tim Burton. I think he left the Disney company by then.
No, yeah, Tim Burton. Tim Burton was on Fox and the Hound. Yeah, that was the one. And he came to work like bleeding and stuff.
Ugh.
It's okay. He went on to make Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
And nothing else. That's his only movie.
Because he technically didn't actually make Nightmare Before Christmas. That was our boy Henry Selick.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of blood, you know who sheds blood?
Beetlejuice?
No, Frollo. Can we talk about Frollo?
Yeah, let's talk about Frollo, the big
that was
villain.
My attempt at a transition.
No, that's fine. The big villain of the movie. I feel like Frollo is one of those things that people bring up when they talk about Hunchback as being one of Disney's best. It's Frollo being one of the best Disney villains, and
he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's kind of a jerk. I'll agree to that.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit mean.
When they finally adapt when they finally adapt Hunchback for Kingdom Hearts, there's a scene where like Frollo walks up to Sora and just goes, "I know what you are."
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Oh, there is actually a Kingdom Hearts Hunchback level.
Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah, in Dream Drop Distance.
And Frollo goes, "I know who you are."
Yeah.
Again, I haven't played it, but
And
again,
I'm grabbing the screenshot.
Sora, why is Frollo looking at you like that? Such disgusting attire. I know you.
I know what you are.
A little boy.
He would definitely be the kind of person to say that.
Well, he literally did.
He just said
I
it.
mean, yeah, but
Hard as stone, but Quasi's stronger. Yeah, Hugo's pretty hard as stone when he sees Jolly.
oh, jeez. Crying out loud.
So speaking of hard of stone, when a woman's in the room, so Frollo is, yeah, he's a freak, he's a creep, he's a loser, he is one of the most despicable villains Disney has ever made.
Thank you, William. Very cool.
Today's the festival, and look, I'm the king of fools. Wow, it's just like me.
Frollo summons a demon and says it's time for righteous justice.
He summons the darkness.
He summons a multicolored demon thing with wings.
I will say, just the very
When you walk away.
I will say, just the very existence of Frollo boggles my mind. The fact that he's in a Disney movie, and I don't think we're ever going to get a villain like him again.
No.
That makes me really sad.
Well, I feel like I don't trust Disney to do a villain like that justice.
Yeah.
Because they would be afraid to do a villain like that again. And so I think that makes Frollo all the more special in that case.
So much of this movie feels like an absolute passion project by the animators and directors.
Yes.
And then every 5 minutes, you can just feel the Disney executives peeking their head and saying, "Hey, what's going on around here? Make the goat burp."
And they're just like, yeah, yes, Mr. Disney.
Okay, so anyway, war crime.
Yeah.
And I actually do have an interesting fact about the voice actor Tony Jay. He does such a good job as Frollo, but
Incredibly
I will say
so.
he's so good. And the one thing I have is it's another fact from the director's commentary. And you know, near the beginning of the scene when or beginning of the movie when Frollo is teaching Quasi his ABCs, and Quasi says F is Festival of Fools, and Frollo has a spit take.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually wasn't Tony Jay. He just was completely incapable of doing a spit take, and they had to have someone else do it.
Really?
That's very funny.
Yeah,
What-
I think they.
What does
forgot who it was.
incapable of being able to do a spit take entail? What does that mean?
Maybe he was just too old, or like he didn't get the hang. I don't know. Maybe he didn't get the hang of it. I don't
It's
know.
just
But
the sound of water.
well, I mean, he was pretty old when he did it. Maybe.
He's the opposite
know.
of Anton Ego, where he just swallows.
Oh.
But I think it was, I don't know who it was, but one of the guys on the commentaries jokingly said that he missed that day in acting school.
Damn it, I missed that one day in acting school.
What do you think G would have been in Frollo's alphabet? Would that just be God?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
about
think so.
H?
Heretic.
I?
Isaiah.
Insubordination.
Or Isaac. Or Ishmael.
Insubordination?
Yeah, insubordination.
And I think another F would be Freudian slip.
I was gonna say fornication, but that's because I'm. That was the first one that came to my mind. You know, honestly, festival and fornication were giving Frollo the same reaction.
True.
Well,
Now,
Quasi-
granted, Frollo's motivation in the movie is fornication.
True. But Quasi had a Freudian slip when he said festival, so
Because he was
But,
he was passionate for that festival. He wanted to go out and see the world.
Was Freud
exactly,
French?
he wanted to touch
Freud was
grass.
German.
Damn.
Except they
Damn
didn't
you,
really have-
Europe!
Oh, I did hear that. Apparently this is, I wouldn't say the only, but this is one of the few Disney movies to basically not have any trees.
But it
'cause they're
has
just in a
but it has
Some.
it has wood.
not
So
trees.
but
Yeah, but not all wood is tree.
okay.
All tree is wood, but not all wood is tree.
Okay, then where does the wood come from?
From trees.
Well, it came from tree, but it's not tree anymore.
Right. But it's not but it's still a tree because it was once a tree.
Okay,
It doesn't have leaves on it.
all ice is water, but not all water is ice.
Now you're just moving the goalpost.
You're a goalpost. I'll move you off a cliff. Okay, so Frollo.
Hellfire is the best Disney song. Super.
Best
take right
Disney
there.
song.
Well, okay, I guess that was a Freudian slip right there.
No,
I meant to say
no. Elaborate. I want you to elaborate.
Okay. I originally meant best villain song. I think we can
Okay.
agree on that. But I do
Oh
think
yeah.
it is
Sure.
one of my favorite Disney songs.
Yeah.
And I feel like a freak when I say that to people.
Why?
Yeah, wait, why?
Because
I mean, I guess maybe like in person, sure, but like on the internet, that's pretty popular.
But I feel like knowing someone like me, I feel like someone like me wouldn't say that.
Okay, if you were wearing a blue dress, I would assume you'd say "Let It Go," but
I mean that too, maybe.
Are you saying because you're a Disney adult and
I was
No,
making a
for
joke
some
about the
reason-
fact that you're blonde. Therefore, you look like Elsa.
because I'm a blonde? Yeah.
You know, honestly, Earth Girls Easy is the best Disney movie.
I agree.
It's not owned by Disney.
No.
But I guess like if you came up to me like I feel like if you didn't know me enough, you wouldn't expect my favorite Disney song would be Hellfire,
I mean,
right?
you just look at someone like you can't really figure, hey, what's your favorite Disney song? Like, I look at Hal, like I have no fucking clue what his favorite Disney song is gonna be. Hal, what's your favorite Disney song?
So,
The
The answer is he doesn't have one because he hasn't thought of it.
No, I got it.
Hellfire?
The monorail song from The Simpsons.
Okay. But anyway, Hellfire.
Oh, so no one's gonna ask me the question. Okay, so Hellfire.
So it is Hellfire?
No.
Oh. Okay, but what's your favorite Disney song?
Nope. Now we're talking about Hellfire.
Okay.
My favorite dinosaur is the Ankylosaurus.
I will say one of the animators for Frollo, she was the lead animator. Her name is Kathy Zielinski. I'm not sure which shots she did specifically, but the ones she did for Hellfire, I know she was like 8 months pregnant.
Wasn't that also like a similar story of whoever did Jafar?
Oh, that was the same. I think that was the same animator.
So both times she was pregnant, she was working on Jafar and Frollo.
I mean, I don't. Well, I mentioned earlier that Hunchback came out or went in production after Aladdin came out.
Okay, so it was probably the same kid.
Maybe. I don't know.
We
I guess
need-
like she would have worked on the design at that point around then too.
We need more Disney villains animated by pregnant women. Because then we get
But I mean-
Jafar and Frollo out of it.
Yeah. And also one of the other animators for Frollo, Sergio Pablos, later went on to direct Klaus. So like no wonder the movie is so good. The Netflix movie with Jason Schwartzman and J.K. Simmons.
I remember.
Yeah.
You know, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 came about because one of like the New Line execs or something, I think, was pregnant at the time. So someone came up with the idea of, hey, what if Freddy's claws fill in the blanks?
Oh,
I'll fill in those blanks in a month from now.
okay. And I guess I should bring it up now. So I do have the art book for Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think it was actually my first art book that I collected. And it has... yeah, I took some pictures of it earlier. I'm going to send them right now. But there's an entire segment about Heaven's Light and Hellfire. And the thing about Hellfire is that the pages actually fold out and it shows the entire sequence in storyboards.
Oh, nice.
I think it's... yeah. And it's so cool.
There was, you posted earlier, like on topic of storyboards, you posted like the storyboard for Out There, and like you saw like all the different early designs for Frollo and Quasi.
Yeah.
About
Some
like
of those pictures are in the art book.
Yeah, and like you could see like they went from many ideas. Some like the designs for Quasi are a lot more familiar to like adaptations before.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the one we got is more its own thing, which frankly you would want anyway, because you would want your version to be recognizable.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like if the movie came out back in like the 50s or 60s, it probably would have been a more traditional Quasi. So good thing it came out in the 90s then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for those listening, the storyboards that he's talking about, it's a behind-the-scenes video of Alan Menken singing Out There. I think Don Hahn introduced it, and he said it was like a demo reel. He showed it. It was just a reel of early sketch ideas and just an early idea of Out There that they would show to presenters, not presenters, but I think investors and just people in the Disney team, just so they can get a general feel of it. And I just love Alan Menken's version of Out There.
There's also like an entire first verse that got cut in the final film, because Frollo gets a lot more to do in that song. Because in the current version, he just introduces the melody and then leaves. Whereas in that version, he gets like an entire verse to himself before Quasi takes over.
It's basically just him further berating Quasimodo.
Which I think we get that. I think that goes into the movie's pacing. I think we already get that. So like I kind of like that he just introduces the melody, and so then Quasimodo can kind of take it over and make it his own song.
I mean, most movies are like most of the time you're gonna write more than what you actually need, so you can cut stuff out because like that's how you make a movie.
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard the demo version, I was a little weirded out by the new verse, but then after it's kind of grown on me. But obviously the one in the movie is still the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it also has its instrumentation finalized too.
Yeah.
Because in that version, it's just the piano, whereas in the final film, it's the big triumphant song.
Yeah.
It is so also, triumphant because I fucking love Tom Hulce's singing.
Well, I was going to make a point, but we have to wait till we actually get to like the actual movie itself to talk about that because we're still on characters right now. I haven't really said much about Frollo, but like I feel like you guys kind of just covered it. Like, there is no Disney character like this.
No.
He's just one of a kind.
Yeah.
Okay, I will ask, what are your guys' thoughts on James's Frollo video? I don't think you guys have seen the musical, right?
I haven't. I heard his point though, where like because it's a musical, therefore it's much longer. You are allowed to build his character more, so like we understand more about him.
I think I started the video, or I think I started the musical because I think I edited part of that video. I don't remember.
I watched the video, but it's been years since it came out, so I don't remember every point.
Yeah.
It was effectively that he's more sympathetic in the musical than he is here.
Yeah, he's kind of in the musical. He's a bit more realistic. Like his turn to the dark side is a bit more extended. But then, obviously, in the first 5 minutes, he just goes from 0 to 100. But I honestly, personally, really like that he goes from 0 to 100. I just like him seeing just the fact that a Disney villain like him is so evil. And he pulls it off so well.
I mean, it basically like explains itself too, because like, okay, the movie starts. Okay, he's racist. We got that. Okay, he's a murderer. Got that. Okay, he's justifying his actions in the law because he's a judge / in the real book he's a priest, but in here he's just a judge. And like how he's like, I am guiltless. She ran. I pursued. And then like we get from Clopon's narration that like for the first time ever, he felt a twinge of fear for his immortal soul. So like you get the whole he's justifying his actions with religion in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you kind of understand that, like, okay, yeah, I understand this kind of character now.
Yeah. And
so it worked in that context.
And I feel like I don't trust Disney with that kind of morally gray kind of character version that the musical was trying to go with. I think you should make, I mean, this is meant for a younger audience. I think it's fine if you make it more black and white and you actually kind of up the evilness on Frollo. And not to say, because I still think he's an interesting character, even though I don't find him sympathetic, I still find him interesting.
You find him, you understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the thing that actually matters in a movie. Because, like, sure, having a character that's relatable is great, but, like, what actually really matters is that you at least understand them.
Yeah.
Like, I can't relate to Satan, but, like, I can understand him, I guess.
And going back to the way Frollo uses religion in corrupt ways, I will say, at the very end of the movie, just before he, spoilers, dies, he says to Esmeralda, "And he shall smite the wicked and plunge them into the fiery pit."
And then God smites him.
Yep, and smite him he shall. And I actually looked it up a few years ago to see if it was a real Bible verse, because I'd never heard of it. And I'm like, I looked it up, and no, it's not.
Ooh.
But I feel like it's very in character for him to just make up a Bible verse just so he can do evil things.
Yeah, because who's gonna read the Bible to check? I mean, it was just him and like Quasimodo and Esmeralda, and they were gonna die anyway in his mind, so he could come up with whatever he wanted then.
I mean, it's probably like the kind of thing that like a priest would
Like,
say during a sermon.
Yeah.
Because, like, the sermon, you're not just literally reading the Bible. Like, you're talking about what happens in it and, like, you're explaining it. And that's the kind of thing you'd say at that point.
Sure, yeah.
But, like, not even, like, just in the context of the scene, just, like, him as a character. I feel like it is very in character for him to do that.
To interpret it and use it as it is the word of God when it's really the word of him.
Right.
And within that, it's like he's trying to use that as, like, a religious justification for what he's doing, not seeing that what he is doing is against it.
Exactly. Bark.
I guess I was gonna ask to keep going, but I guess we should make sure the dog isn't barking. Okay, I guess he's done. What else we want to say about Just Frollo without getting into the actual plot of the movie?
His design.
The hat's cool.
Yeah.
It's a good hat. It seems like a hat you'd see in the Dune miniseries. So I
knew you were gonna say that.
It's a good hat.
It's another thing they mentioned in the commentary. They said it was a nightmare to animate. So when he loses it during the climax, apparently like all the animators cheered and stuff.
I mean, yeah.
Sure.
Clothing is clothing like that can be very difficult to animate in general.
And especially with the super long ribbon.
Because, like, it's hard to, like, really... Because you have him walking, it's like, oh, you don't have to animate the legs, but you still need to make it look like he's walking, so the legs do need to be doing something. And I imagine that'd be very difficult to do correctly.
And
like,
the clothes need to react, and the ribbon, and the hat, and yeah.
Like, as this is a different kind of a thing, but similar concept. Princess Peach was supposed to be playable in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but she was ultimately replaced with the Toads because they didn't know how to handle her dress at that point.
Interesting.
Yes, really. Different kind of a thing, but similar concept that clothing is very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it's a character you can control, and you can control it basically any way you can. So anyway, yeah, so I can understand that.
Because, like, the fabric is moving in all these different directions as you're, like, putting it on and off or, like, moving it around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a cough.
I know.
Okay. Have you seen Chef?
Yes, I have.
Okay. It's like, to get into, like, you want to make your design simpler if usually, so, like, it's a very complicated, like, clothing, because, like, the pattern's nice and, like, just the big robe, can be very complicated, so it's ballsy that they went for it, but, you know, it's like, to get on a different character, a lot of people, like, I used to hear, like, oh, Quasimodo isn't that ugly in this movie, but it's like, if he were uglier, that is more detail you have to put on him, therefore more detail you have to animate, and this is your main character, so you are animating him the most.
Exactly. Like, he's not conventionally attractive, but then he's still easy on the eyes, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it gets the point across, and it has like the basic feature, like he has the lump on his head, his nose isn't like the prettiest thing ever. It gets the idea of what the character should be like.
And I noticed he has he has the lump on his like eyebrow, and then I noticed he always has a shadow under his eye.
Oh.
Because like I believe in the original he's supposed to be like half blind, basically.
Yeah, I think half blind, and in the original novel he's deaf because of the
Yeah.
bells.
It's like the only thing you can hear anymore is the bells, which
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Phoebus or Quasi next? Because I feel like we should save Esmeralda for last.
Let's go Quasi since he's the main character.
So
I do love
Quasimodo.
Quasi.
Well, the reason I want to do Esmeralda last is because I want to like talk about all the other characters in their relationship to her.
And I'll get to talk about my cat, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
So Quasimodo, he is in the original, he's a lot more mischievous and hateful, which, to be fair, everyone also hates him just for the way he looks, so fair. But in this one, he's just kind of like, he's been kept hidden for so long that like he's more just like a legend to these people.
And he hasn't experienced any hardships firsthand. He's being told that from Frollo.
Yeah, like they don't even realize that it's him at first when he's at the festival. Like aside from they thinking it's a mask, but like even when they realize it's not a mask, so there's like that moment of like hesitation. Like, what is this? Wait, that's the bell ringer from Notre Dame. Like they have to like come to that realization later. Like he's just kind of like been a legend all this time to them. Whereas in the other versions, I believe they at least know who he is and they've seen him before. Like, again, in the Lon Chaney film I just watched, he actively, like, jeers at them all the time from atop, and they know it. Like, he fucks around with them, swinging around and yelling at them. Whereas here, it's like, he is just a secret.
I do wonder, just, if you were on the ground, like, before he came down to the Festival of Fools, imagine just being on the ground, looking up, and just seeing him up there, just vibing.
You think he's ugly now?
Watch this.
Now
that's ugly.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Is that what he calls it?
Bon appetit.
No, he calls it bong, bong, bong. Also, it's never really like brought up how strong he is, but yeah, if you're ringing bells your entire life, yeah, you're gonna be fucking ripped.
No, it does. I think there is a scene where it does show off his strength, and that's when Phoebus
the chains
comes up. Yeah, but also when Phoebus comes up to try and say something to Esmeralda, and
and he lifts him up.
Yeah, and Quasi is being very defensive, and
Can you put me down?
Yeah, can you put me down, please?
It's a guy wearing a full plate of armor.
It's great. It's a great comedic scene because it is quite silly, but also like it does kind of foreshadow eventually when he does break out of the chains.
It's like they never like call too much. Like there's never a time where a character like explains he's a monster. He's like stronger than 50 men. They never do anything like that. It's more just like you see it because like you see him ringing the bells. You gotta imagine, yeah, that's probably a lot. You see him jumping and swinging around. You see the scene of Phoebus.
Yeah.
So it's like it all subtly shows you his true strength, and it all just does it very seamlessly. Like, yeah, you believe it.
And going back to that scene with him and Phoebus, I've actually seen the cell of one of the frames when he's walking down the stairs and he has the torch and he's like waving it to Phoebus. I've actually seen that cell in person, the animation cell. It's like $800.
Yeah, cells are not cheap.
It was for.
So the same amount of money that it costs to buy a Goofy movie on Blu-ray.
No, that's the same amount of money it costs to buy the Great Shipwreck Adventure on Blu-ray.
Right.
You want to sing about it?
Yeah, I want to sing about it. I'm a girl reviewer on the internet.
Cell in person, and I thought it's kind of on my bucket list to have a Hunchback cell, but just seeing one in person is pretty cool. $800. Ugh.
I mean, it's literally a screen use prop.
Yeah.
I know, but
that's kind of a lot of money.
Yeah.
I need to type in Blu-ray specifically for this. Hang on.
Crying out loud.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Come on, eBay load. No exact matches. Okay, I guess no one has them on eBay right now.
Hunchback cells?
I guess we can't sing about it.
No, Shipwreck Adventure.
I guess we can't sing about it.
Oh well, c'est la vie.
Damn. I don't
Hey,
want
look
the
at that,
DVD.
it's
I
in
want.
French, like the movie.
That being said, the DVD for Chipmunk Adventure by itself is $50 for the DVD.
Ew.
I'm not getting it.
Alvin! So, Quasimodo, he's also, like, he's been in the tower his entire life. Frollo's been the only person he's ever talked to. I guess also the Archdeacon. It's never really focused on, but, like, I'd imagine the Archdeacon would have talked to him at some point.
Which is why he's not entirely hateful.
Well, the Archdeacon's the entire reason that he's even alive
Right.
in this version.
But that's what I'm saying. He's not just getting his information from Frollo. He probably does have interactions with the Archdeacon.
Yeah. And we can get to this later, but also, like, that you also, like, through that, you see, like, the relationship with, like, God and religion. Whereas Quasi, I'd imagine, would find more comfort in it than anything, than using it to justify anything.
Yes.
Because, like, he gets Heaven's Light, which is more of a love song than anything, but, you know, and, like, he probably would have had conversation with the actual person who knows this stuff.
True.
And, like, because of the fact that Frollo was, like, his primary way of learning things, he's never had any real life experiences, so he's very naive. He's only 20 years old.
That's
Yeah,
true.
which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
So it's like you never really think about it, but he's very young. Because, like, you look at everyone else, like Frollo is very obviously an old man. You look at Esmeralda and Phoebus, and they look like they're in, like, their mid-30s. So it's like Quasi's very
Late 20s.
late 20s, early 30s. Phoebus is in his 30s, very likely.
Yeah.
So it's like he's basically he's the youngest one there, and he's been trapped for his entire life. And you can see that for, like, some of his interactions, because, like, he's very shy, but also a little too trusting.
And then very aggressive when it comes to
Yeah.
Phoebus.
Yeah.
And I also do like the detail that they gave him a little hobby with his, like, whittling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His models. Oh, I love the models.
Mm-hmm. And I love the what is it? The little chandelier of broken stained glass. That's a great touch.
And he knows the entire city because he's seen it from above for all his life.
Yep.
And it's like he can't actually go down there so he can make his own city to interact with, because that's all he can do.
Exactly. It's adorable.
It makes perfect sense for his character.
Yeah.
Also, he has a great singing voice.
He does.
Quasi songs, he gets Heaven's Light and Out There.
And a 5-second reprise of Heaven's Light when Esmeralda and Phoebus are making out.
Yeah.
Dude, when he holds the note during Out There, it fills me with such glee. I'm just it's
So good.
So good. Again, Tom Hulse. He was in Amadeus as Amadeus. He's also good in that, but I like him here too. He's such a good actor.
I haven't seen Amadeus yet. It's one of the oldest. Again, I'm going to say this is one of the.
It's
oldest
one of the
movies on my
first
watch
films you put on your watch list.
I remember.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about now. Once you
I
explained
wanted
it.
to make sure.
Okay.
I also haven't seen Amadeus, but I have seen Amadeus and Lady Battle Cop.
You have seen Amadeus and Lady Battle Cop. I can attend to that because I also saw Amadeus and Lady Battle Cop.
Yeah, and greatest villain ever, right?
Yeah. Not as good as Chef.
Not as good as Chef.
Okay.
I've seen Chef.
Have you?
We've all.
Yeah, I've seen Chef.
Okay.
You guys want to get some beignets?
Yeah.
No, let's go right now.
I want some Cubanos, personally.
Yeah. An Austin Midnight.
I want Begnets.
What?
Begnets.
Lasagna?
Wow, you mispronounced a food word. You're comedy gold. So anyway, speaking of Phoebus,
Are we done talking about Quasi yet?
I think we've talked about Quasi enough. I mean,
I guess, like, it'd be more important, like, when we actually establish the other characters. Yeah. Okay, Phoebus.
yeah.
Ya boy.
I love Phoebus, and it's a lot of it is because of Kevin Kline. If it wasn't Kevin Kline, oh man, I don't know if he would work. Kevin Kline makes this character to me. I love it.
It took me absolutely way too long to realize that Kevin Kline voiced both Phoebus and Tullio
Yeah.
in Nero del Dorado, and it was already like I was obsessed with those two movies for years, and I didn't find out about it until like a couple years after the fact.
But once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Exactly.
You know what?
But he's so good.
They're basically the same character when you really think about it.
I mean, because Kevin Kline has that quirky nature to his voice where he brings.
Now I want to see Phoebus and Quasi go on a road trip.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. I mean, technically the scene of them going to the Court of Miracles is the road to the Court of Miracles.
Come, Quasi, we're going on a road trip to the Court of Miracles.
Oh boy, I hope.
But
Let me
then
look up
you
the
go
name
to
of the
El
lady
Dorado
for.
spin-off.
Hang on, let me look up. I'm looking up her name. Hang on. I hope Dorothy Lamar is there.
That is not the name I thought you were looking up. Please explain the joke to me now. What?
The Bob Hope and Bing Crosby Road 2 films. Dorothy Lamar is always the lady.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't seen any of those movies yet.
I've seen one of them.
Cool.
It's the one that contains the lyric, like Webster's Dictionary, we're Morocco bound.
So I
Good
will say-
lyric.
So I guess going back to the gargoyles for like a quick second, I guess they could be somewhat humorous, few and far between. But when it comes to the humor of the movie, I think Phoebus does the best job. He's the funniest character.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's the best comedy.
Yes.
Undoubtedly, yeah. As much comedy as I get out of the gargoyles, whether intentional or not, Kevin Kline, every word he says is hilarious. I agree.
The problem
Really
the problem for
feel-
me with the Gargoyles comedy is that it's poorly. It's just the timing is off for a lot of it. Like
Yes.
it's so fast, so like you can never really get a good setup or payoff with it.
Yes.
Like the Pope joke is funny, but like everything else is like it happens so fast. It's like, oh, there was a joke there.
Yeah, and I think
Whereas
is a bit
Phoebus,
more
everything.
dry.
Phoebus also has like some fast jokes, but like it's in a conversation with someone else, so it works.
I didn't know you had a kid.
Yeah, and like that also like will come up when we talk about Esmeralda, because like for the point I'm making with him and her and everyone else, I guess. But like with Phoebus, it's like very organic. Like
Right.
he's the funniest part of the movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
What a woman! Watch that! Look at that disgusting display. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Part of me does wonder if the Disney execs didn't have any say in this. I feel like the best version of this movie would be maybe get rid of the gargoyles, or at least tone them down to like maybe how they act in the musical, and then maybe get rid of like the slapstick and stuff, and have Phoebus as more of the funny character. I feel like that would be the best version of this movie. And I already love this movie a whole lot, but I feel like having Phoebus be the main comic relief, I guess.
I'd say the slapstick is fine in like the festival, but like during the final battle, it has no place.
Yeah, and I'm not really a big fan of the scene of Esmeralda trying to escape the guards, because I mean technically she already escaped by when she blew her nose and disappeared in a puff of smoke, but then they had that whole chase scene. And sometimes like the past couple years I've just been wondering, they could have cut that out.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't get the crotch shot on all four of the guards.
Oh.
I feel like it's more just her assassing them and just playing with them at that point.
Right. I guess it'd be in character, and even in the musical they kind of cut that down, where it's just Phoebus and Esmeralda and Clopin just disappearing from the crowd, and then just proceeds on with the musical. But yeah, I guess it'd be in character for Esmeralda in the movie.
I think Phoebus's introduction is also just a very good indication of like what his character is and his relationship with Esmeralda in total.
Yeah.
Because like you see what this character is about and how well he
beginning.
plays off of her and everyone else.
Yeah, he's
Exactly.
far more understanding. He's not one of the nameless guards that are just oafish and just do exactly what Frollo tells them to do.
He's not racist.
Yeah. Very important.
Good for him. He did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I feel like we all have a lot to say that we are bricking ourselves and can't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We all have conditions.
I mean, I guess we also just want to talk more about what actually happens in the movie when we're just on the character stuff right now.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say about Phoebus before we get to everything else?
No.
He has a crush on Esmeralda. Oh, hey, let's talk.
Hey,
about
let's talk about Esmeralda.
Hey, what a transition.
You know,
Yay.
really, in a way, the movie is kind of like she's kind of like the centerfold of the film in a way, right?
I'd say so.
Because everyone's
Yeah.
motivations revolve around her,
Yeah.
and I guess in that, like, clearly it's a love of story in that regard. For each of the characters is in love with her in a different way. Well, for one of them, it's in quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you look at Phoebus and Esmeralda, and you actually see proper chemistry with them. You see how they play off of each other. You see how kind they are, and you get the sense like, yeah, this is an actual couple that could work
She treats her
well.
like a human.
Yeah, they genuinely
Yeah.
respect one another.
They have good banter with each other.
Yeah.
Like, you
going
actually get a sense that they are actually in love with each other for real.
Yeah.
And going back to the "What a Woman" line, in the commentary they said that they had a couple ideas thrown around where his reaction was going to be like "Ay Chihuahua" or like "Ay Caramba" or something,
Ugh.
but then they they landed on "What a Woman" because it actually shows him respecting her.
I mean, I can probably imagine Kevin Kline making those lines work because he is just that funny, but also I think they've made the right choice of just going with "What a woman."
I think
Yeah.
it would have been very funny if his heart beat out of his chest 5 times and his eyeballs popped out, and then he did the dog whistle and said, "Hello, nurse."
And then he said, "How old is she?"
Awooga.
And then I
But
just
yeah,
died
like-
and your arm started playing.
You get a big band version of "I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight."
Exactly.
Does that exist?
No.
Maybe.
It should.
I want to hear it.
Is there a
I love
ska
that song.
version?
Probably. There's probably a ska
Probably.
version before there's a big band version. Big band is not
Probably.
something you do a ska version of a song before you would do a big band version.
We
Yeah, I
should probably
guess.
save the side quest for when we watch Max Keeble's big move.
We'll get to that. Don't worry.
Yes, we will.
But yeah, okay, for the point, Phoebus and Esmeralda are actually in love with each other. Then we get Quasi, as I brought up
It's a
earlier.
kind of
He has been
pencil.
locked in a tower his entire life, and he's had like very little communication or any connection with humans at all. Esmeralda is the very first person who's ever really shown him any kind of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
he is very naive. He doesn't really know what love actually is. So he just has a crush. He is misinterpreting her kindness as love, which is fair enough because he doesn't have life experience for that.
But
He
he is
doesn't really
Kind of
understand it.
incel behavior.
but he is also
I mean,
the
he
one
means well, but
but he is also the one that does realize, like, he learns himself.
Yes, he
That-
learns that later in the movie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Like,
he
for
respects
him
it.
with Esmeralda, he doesn't understand. So it's like it's part of his arc, basically.
I think that's a
of
very
learning the world.
Yeah, I think that's very important that he's the one to realize that, because it does show that he's genuinely learning these
Yeah.
values himself. He doesn't need to be told them.
Yeah. Through
True.
seeing how, because like he gets his time with Phoebus afterwards and seeing how he's acting and learns more about the world.
Yeah.
So it's like he's infatuated with Esmeralda, but he isn't really actually in love. But like
But he
through
loves
Esmeralda,
that.
he's learning more about the world and his place in it. So like you have love, you have a crush and naivety, and then you have Frollo, who is pure lust.
Pure horny.
Like he does
Yeah.
not love her. He just wants her. He just wants sex, basically. He is only lusting after her. He
Yeah.
doesn't actually care about her. He just wants her to service him. And
And
once
if
he's done with
he can
her,
have her,
throw her to
no
the
one will.
side.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like at the end of the movie, when he does have her in his clutches at the pyre, it's like either pick me or you will die.
Yeah. And even then,
Honest-
he's happy with either outcome. Like, even if she
Yeah.
rejects him, he's still happy because he's
He gets to kill someone.
he's killing
gets
someone.
to-
He's getting rid of who he sees
Yeah.
as vermin.
Yeah,
he
and
blames her
it's
for
extending his
having
power. Because now
his
more people will
wonderful
see him
shot.
doing this is like, oh, you can do this whenever you want, basically.
Yeah.
So it's making him more powerful.
Yeah.
And I think the musical does a really good job of bringing that, not from the subtext, but to the text. Because there's a song in Rhythm of the Tambourine where they have like a three-way not a duet. But
Please
it's
rephrase that.
They have a three-way, you say?
No.
There was a very uncomfortable gap there. What?
I gotta see this musical now. You piqued my interest.
Is Quasi a top or a bottom?
He's a middle.
Listen,
Oh, he's a switch.
So it's the introductory scene of Esmeralda. She's doing her dance, and then you have this little break where you have Quasimodo, Phoebus, and Frollo singing, and they're saying like Phoebus and Quasimodo say she's an angel, but obviously they both have very different interpretations of that. And Phoebus and Frollo say she dances like fire, and the two of them have very different interpretations of that, and I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think Phoebus takes it more as a metaphor, but then
because Quasi would be
very literal about it.
Because Quasi's been in the church his entire life, so he's like literally an angel, whereas Phoebus would be like she's angelic, like an angel.
Right.
Whereas with Phoebus, who has a real life, he's like, oh, she's like, it's like fiery passion that he sees, whereas Frollo sees her as a demon.
Exactly.
A demon he can fuck.
Oh, like Faust.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. I love this movie.
Ages ago on YouTube, the guy from Victorious with the puppet, he had a channel he used to do monologues after the show ended. One of them was about how he just wanted to fuck a demon.
Oh.
I wish it was still up so I could show you, but like this was a thing like 10 years ago, and it was wild that the puppet guy from Victorious wanted to fuck a demon.
If Frollo said that'd be in character for him.
And then he would kill her right afterwards for a point.
And then he would be the puppet guy on Victorious.
Well, I mean, Quasi's basically his puppet to a degree. He breaks out, though.
Yeah, he's like his lapdog.
So now, as far as Esmeralda herself, though, without the love triangle,
I think she's an awesome character.
I feel like she's your favorite character, considering she's your icon most of the time on other websites.
Yeah. So I think when I was younger, I think it was Frollo, but I think as I've gotten older, I think it's been more Esmeralda. Just the fact that I just think she's a really awesome female character. She's strong, she's independent, but it's during the time when Disney wasn't overcompensating with the girl bossiness.
She is strong and independent just because she is strong and independent, and that's just the character.
Yeah, it comes across more natural and not making up for the fact.
Right. And I don't know, she's an icon, and I guess I'll bring it up now that I love Esmeralda so much that my current icon is my cat, Esmeralda, who is named after Esmeralda from Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, I thought she was named after Shrek, because Shrek has an E and an S in it, like Esmeralda.
No.
Shrek's Mazelda?
Wrong.
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda?
Like bog water. Hell, bog water.
And the thing is, she actually does have green eyes, so it fits.
So it fits with Shrek?
No, it's Esmeralda. Doesn't Shrek have brown eyes?
But Shrek is green. Yeah.
No.
You know, Frollo would have hated Shrek.
True.
Shrek would have walked into Paris and Frollo would be like, that ugly attire. I know what you are. And then Shrek would be like, no shit, I'm an ogre, dumbass. And then he would eat him.
Squeeze the jelly from your eyes.
And then Shrek would T-pose. Because they forgot to animate the rest of the scene.
I'm T-posing, donkey.
Donkey! You see that goat over there? The gargoyle wants to fuck him.
Shrek, what you talking about, man?
Okay, but going back to Esmeralda, the character, I love how selfless she is. I love that, like in God Help the Outcast, she doesn't want anything for herself. She just wants her people, the Romani people, to be free. And I think it's actually going to God Help the Outcast. There's that chorus of praying people in the cathedral where they pray for money and like beauty and stuff, but then it's contrasted with her and her selflessness, and I think that's really great.
Yeah.
She just wants to not die.
Exactly. She just wants to be a human being.
That's pretty selfish, to TBH.
Okay. Whatever you say.
It is my podcast, so I can say that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I know what you are. You're the robot from Pacific Rim. I wish Phoebus had a giant robot.
That'd kick ass.
It'd solve the problem a lot faster.
Yeah, if you took
Imagine
the
if
Pacific
Frollo
Rim
had one.
robots and stomped Frollo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a
I was thinking
sword.
Frollo could use the robot to, like, tear open the doors or whatever.
That too. That too. He could also
Yeah.
use a robot. Yeah, so then we have like 2 giant robots fighting in downtown France.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Downtown Paris. France is the country. Paris is the city.
And then he grabs a bow and smacks Frollo with it.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
Idris Elba is there.
For some
Just for
reason.
fun.
Yeah, just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little Frollo in his hand.
Not yet. That'll be the. You know what? We'll make that the thumbnail.
That's gonna confuse people so hard. Because he's
Why is the thumbnail of the video Pacific Rim versus Max Keeble? Isn't this for Perfect Blue and Hunchback? Yeah, you cut back on that spot.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. We figured it out.
Yippee! Where were we?
Talking about Esmeralda in the church.
Yes. God Help the Outcast is great. I do love the end of the scene with her walking towards the... I'm not
The glass
sure.
window.
Yeah, I think it might be the rose window specifically, because there are different stained glass windows and they all have different names. I want to say that's the rose window she walks up towards, and it's really pretty. And I remember hearing, again in the commentary, they had a really tough time animating the dust particles correctly because there were some, because they are computer generated, but there were some that were as big as her head.
Oh.
It's a real dusty place.
Yeah.
Deacon,
it's like
clean your
centuries-
church.
It's centuries years old, so I mean, I guess I can't blame them.
If it's dusty, that's inexcusable. God doesn't like dust.
They can cleanse the evil spirits at night, but they can't cleanse the dust bunnies.
They haven't invented Billy Mays yet.
There's no Ave Maria for dust.
And he shall smite the dust bunnies and plunge them into the fiery pit.
God just has a giant can of lemon pledge.
That
Earth
too.
is clean now. But like, that's also just like, there's so many great shots in the movie. Like, there's the shot in Out There where Quasi is like riding the aqueducts, basically all of Hellfire with the rogue guys in the fire. The shot of Esmeralda standing in front of the glass window. The big sanctuary scream at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Anytime you just see Notre Dame in the distance.
Yeah, the shots in
about
this
every
movie
time
are amazing.
It's like that. You just feel like the passion of that went into the film at that point.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it earlier, the last note of Quasimodo during Out There, and the camera pulled back ever so... Oh, that's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and like how it immediately transitions into Phoebus's introduction.
That's when you see Belle.
Because it's just one big tracking
Tracking
shot
shot.
at that point. Because like it pans out there and holds on the shot of the cathedral, and then it starts panning downward to the streets below, and you see Phoebus and Esmeralda.
And the movie's actually bookended by shots of Notre Dame. At the beginning, the movie has that huge pan in toward the cathedral, and then at the end it pans out. And I remember the director saying that at that point it was because it was like 1996, where it was like the largest camera pan out in animation
No kidding.
history, I guess. But then I guess they one up themselves with the end of Atlantis: The Lost Empire, because that was the same directors. So obviously it's not the biggest overall. I'm not sure what it is currently, but in the commentary they said it was then. So,
but it still is an important shot because I mean Notre Dame itself is almost a character because it's such it's an iconic part of the movie. It's where the majority of the movie takes place at.
Also, big shots like that are just like super hard to do in general. Like that kind of shot, and then like anything that shows like a rotating room is very difficult in animation.
but that's what I was mentioning earlier with the camera, like just the cinematography, how they even if the background characters are kind of dated, just the cinematography
Oh, yeah.
itself has not aged a day.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
To this
Yeah.
day,
And, like,
yeah.
It's only the CG characters that are dated, but like they're also only there to fill space.
Right.
Where like they're not important. They're just there to make the scene look bigger. And for that job, they work. It's
Right.
everything else that has work that's more important that it needs to be pulling it off, and it does. Like the movie just looks great.
Magnifique.
French.
No kidding.
Omelette du fromage.
Oui, oui, baguette.
French bread pizza is just like sauce and cheese on a baguette. Fuck French bread pizza.
Oh,
think
don't
it's
say that
pretty
about
good.
French bread.
I would rather have actual pizza.
Well, yes, but
Yeah.
French bread is delicious.
Yeah, but I don't want French bread pizza.
Right. Yeah, you'd rather
I'd
have
rather
a slice of French bread with your like spaghetti and meatballs
Or with my actual pizza.
or an actual pizza.
Yeah.
The French bread with my actual pizza.
Well, I'm glad we are in agreement.
Yeah, we'll cut up the French bread and put it on the pizza as a topping.
That's
round it
diabolical.
up.
Why would you suggest that?
I'll make it worse. I'll put pineapple on it too. Now everyone's upset. Ooh.
Ooh, pineapple and pizza is gonna kill you.
Frodo walks up to see you eating the pineapple pizza. I know what you are. Frodo is very strict about his pizza toppings. He's like, he doesn't even like the sauce on it. He's like the white sauce kind of guy.
He has like snails, escargot, because he's in France,
Ugh.
and they eat snails
just
over
eat-
there.
Do you put snails on pizza over there? I hope not.
I think there's at least
I don't
one
know.
place over in France. Look, they're obsessed with snails. Okay, so they're probably somebody at some point was just like, "Hey, what if I put the snail on the pizza?"
Like Frodo would get like the lamest pizza ever.
Yes, he would just get raw dough.
You just shove the uncooked dough down his throat.
Mm.
Womp.
Delicious.
Aw.
Okay, well, you mentioned the comedy earlier, and I said that Phoebus is the funniest character, but I think I kind of lied because I just remembered in my notes. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention my notes is titled "The Hunchback of Notre Dame."
Oh, that's adorable.
What you're mentioning is
have-
that you actually took notes and I didn't.
Yeah,
Yes.
I never take notes for this podcast. It's ugh.
Well, I did, and I have a title for my Perfect Blue notes, but we'll get there. But one of the notes I took was that the best joke in the movie is when Esmeralda tells Quasi he has a long lifeline. Because he dies in the novel.
Oh.
Oh,
Haha. Well, I haven't read that architecture book, so I didn't get it.
I remember when she reads his palm and says he's shy.
I remember when she
Yeah.
says no monster lines.
I love her little. She's adorable.
Yeah. It's a good character moment, even if it's just like a second.
But yeah, Quasimodo does not have a long lifeline. I will say that.
Quasimodo's
he's
Quasimodo
killed.
is I don't have a long
He doesn't
lifeline.
die of natural causes in the book.
No,
He's killed.
no, he dies of starvation because
Oh.
well, spoilers for like a 200-year-old book, but at the end, Esmeralda gets hanged by Frollo, and then Quasimodo is so upset at Frollo that he throws him over the cathedral. Obviously, he dies, and then Quasimodo is so upset that he curls up next to Esmeralda's corpse until he dies of starvation.
Now, why
then-
wasn't that in the Disney movie? I ask you.
Why didn't Ariel turn to sea foam?
I didn't exist during the movie's production, so
None of us did.
I don't have any say. No, I think Hal existed then.
The movie was
Wrong.
96.
Yeah, 96. I was born 98.
No, you're old, right?
Oh right, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right, yeah.
That's right. I was on the Titanic, and yeah, so I was around when Hunchback was in production.
And then what makes the ending of the book even more sad is that at some point, sometime after, there's a like a grave digger or like a crypt keeper who comes by, and he sees the bones, like they're two skeletons, and he tries to separate them, and then they crumble into dust.
Mm.
And what's actually interesting is that they actually kind of keep that in the musical. So there's kind of two versions of the musical where there was one that was shown in San Diego, like the La Jolla Playhouse in San Diego, and then there was another one in New Jersey. And in the San Diego one, it just kind of ends. Again, spoilers. Esmeralda dies, Frollo dies, and then there's finale that just kind of plays us out. But then in the musical, they make it, or no, in the New Jersey version, they make a little more concrete, where Quasimodo actually narrates saying that he died and that his skeleton crumbled into dust. So, yeah.
I mean, the musicals also obviously don't have the same audience as the movie, where like they're probably swinging more adult anyway.
Right.
So you can get away with that.
And
It
that's
also
probably why
reminds
they-
me of Aida.
Oh, I haven't seen Aida.
Pyramid.
Well, it is Stephen Schwartz, right?
I don't know. I think didn't Ellen John also have something to do with Aida? I don't remember.
Oh, I think it was I think it was Tim Rice. Yeah, it was Tim Rice and Elton John.
I just saw like the high school production that James was in. That's my only experience with Aida.
Yeah, I need to see it.
So I don't know how
Anyway.
accurate it really is, but probably close enough.
I'm sorry I spoiled the musical, but the musical is also very good.
It doesn't matter.
It's okay. I'll forget you said this when I finally watch it anyway in like a year.
Yeah, and I'll
I'm
forget
sorry
you
for
said
the
this when I don't
listeners,
watch it.
too.
The listeners
Hey guys,
are fine.
spoiler! Hey guys, spoiler for a 200-year-old book. Frankenstein the monster dies.
No.
Wait, actually?
Windmill, windmill. What's your favorite Gorillaz lyric? Windmill, windmill.
My favorite is kids have guns.
Olivia, what's your favorite Gorillaz lyric?
I don't know any Gorillaz lyrics.
Sunshine in a bag. In a
Okay.
bag.
Can we talk about
In
the...
a bag.
Okay, I don't know if both of you watched it, but did you guys watch the making of documentary?
No.
I watched it a while ago. I didn't rewatch it for this, but I have seen it before.
I did rewatch it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because, I mean, again, I wrote it in my notes that it's hosted by Jason Alexander because, of course, it is.
George Costanza.
Jerry, I'm a gargoyle.
Sure. But the thing is, he's actually kind of funny in the making of documentary.
Well,
like,
because
funnier than he was.
Because
in the
he's
movie.
being himself.
Because Jason Alexander, I know you've only ever seen him in Hunchback, but Jason Alexander is a genuinely funny guy outside of Hunchback. Like he.
But I mean, they did have a script. Like you could tell they had a script where they had a couple of skits.
Right,
So-
but he's also being himself.
Well, also Olivia, you know, he was on a show called Seinfeld, and that show also had scripts, and he was still
I'm
funny
aware of
in that
that.
show.
He doesn't have much to work with as Hugo in the movie.
Yeah.
Right. But I did mention that. So there's a part where he recalls that in the documentary he recalls when being asked to voice Hugo, and there's a sketch where it cuts to the director groveling at his feet and begging him, like, "Oh, please come, please join us." And then Jason is like standing super high and mighty, blowing bubblegum. And then Don Hahn is off screen saying like, that's not how I remember it. So it cuts to the directors and him getting their shoes shined, and they're saying like, "Oh, we gotta cast that super annoying gargoyle. Like, who should we do? Like, that guy Jason Alexander maybe." And then it cuts to the shoe shiner, and it's Jason Alexander who's shining their shoes.
See, that's
It
funny.
is a great scene. Yeah,
Is it-
I mean,
that's
there's
what I'm
also
saying.
two other really good moments in that documentary,
Is
too.
it actually? Wait, before we get to those, is it actually the directors Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise?
Yes.
All right,
and
good.
Don Hahn, the producer.
Good, excellent.
There's like a moment where they're talking about the character designs and talk about the designs of the gargoyles, and Jason Alexander says, "I think the gargoyles are the best characters Disney has ever created."
Yes, he says that.
And then he gets a phone call,
which is true.
and then he picks up the phone like, "Hello, you're saying someone wants to talk to me? Who wants to talk to me?" A mouse, a duck, and a dog. and he just looks mortified and hangs up. And then at the very end of that documentary, as he's wrapping up and doing this big closing, there's like knocking at the door, and it starts getting louder and louder. And then he's like annoyed, saying, "Oh, hang on, I'm coming. Who is it? Jason? I know you're in there, Jason. We just want to talk. Donald, shut the door. Goofy." Oh, and then Donald Goofy's like, "Okay, Mickey. Jason, I know you're in there. I can hear you breathing."
Why is your Mickey Mouse impression so good?
Yeah.
It's not hard to do a Mickey voice.
I can't do it, and I'm not gonna attempt it.
But come on, Olivia, you gotta try it out. It's really fun. Oh.
No.
Just pretend you want to beat Jason Alexander's kneecaps in.
Do you know what's in a hot dog, Olivia?
Yes, I do, and that's why I stopped eating them.
Olivia, have you seen Chef?
Have you seen Chef? It's a really good movie. You know, Olivia, the student learns from the master, and the master learns from God.
And I happen to be God, Mickey. Yuck.
Yuck. I'm God. I am Maxie. Let's go and meet God. Dad, do we have to? Oh, Maxie, it's okay. Yuck.
Sorry, Maxie. They're going to have to kill you for their sins.
Hark. Oh, Maxie, we gotta go to the gopher land with the gophers. I don't know what I was doing with that one.
Let my gophers go.
I had like a college class where like we did like Shakespeare for seniors, and at the end of that class, we went to like their actual like home, and like at the end, and like it was Christmas time, so we did them and sang carols for them. And at one point, I actually slipped into the goofy voice doing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn Maxie.
Maxie.
That's where I'm putting in this conversation.
But I have other bullet points, and it's another one with Tony J, and it's actually a really cute moment. So he takes the Frollo maquette, which is like those gray figurines, and he says, "Excuse me for a minute," and he scratches his head with it. It's really adorable. And then I have another one with Tom Hulse. He says that it's like a mini interview he did, and he says that it's the animators who are doing the acting since they're the ones drawing the emotions. And I was like, kind of cool hearing it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, like no duh, but it's also kind of nice to hear a Hollywood star saying that, because most of the time they're just coming in to do the voice, and I feel like it's nice to hear a Hollywood celebrity actually take the time to appreciate animation.
Yeah.
The work that goes into it.
When you really think about it, it is a collaborative effort. I mean, that is what film is by definition, is a collaborative effort. And so, no.
Especially for like an animated musical, because not only is it like you got the script, but there's also like the people writing the songs are dictating a lot of what's going to happen. And then the animators one who actually have to make all of it happen.
Yeah.
It's just, whenever I just appreciate those moments, because it was like 10 years ago at the Oscars, Chris Rock was announcing, I think it was the best animated feature category, and he was going off saying like, "Oh, animation is the best, easiest job in the world. You just go in and record lines." And I'm like, no, that's voice acting.
Of course it's easy for him because he voiced Marty.
That's all he has to do.
Yeah, that's all he has to do. Yeah.
But he repeatedly says that what he does is animation, not voice acting.
Yeah.
Like, I want him to try to animate.
Well, yeah, that's why Will Smith smacked him.
True. True.
Animation is so easy. Don't you agree with me, Will? You were in Shark Tale.
Bonk.
Keep my Goofy's name out your goddamn mouth.
Yuck. Gosh.
Gosh, Maxie, Will Smith's really pressed about something. Yuck.
Have we said everything about the movie? Because I feel like...
No. Absolutely not.
I want to get to the previews.
That's fine. We can get to the previews. Again, like, I think at the end of the day, we can't really go scene by scene. We can try, but...
Yeah, like... I mean, clearly show that we've already... It's been like, what, 2 hours that we've been here already?
Yeah, exactly.
And we still have another movie to talk about?
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say we like this movie a lot.
Exactly. I love Esmeralda,
Our favorite
Frollo, and Hunchback. They're all good. I mean, I'm just saying what everyone else has already said. I don't know what I can add to it.
Exactly.
coming from someone who is a massive Hunchback of Notre Dame fan. So yeah, let's talk about the previews.
Please do.
Okay, so for those listening, I wasn't aware that Hal was gonna also purchase a DVD, so I watched Hunchback of Notre Dame on my DVD, and it's one I've used multiple times because it was before Disney Plus came out, so that's how I was able to watch it so often. So I actually took bullet points of just about every commercial that was before it, because I've watched them so many times that they kind of have a charm to them. So the first one was the Beauty and the Beast Special Edition.
True. Yep.
And they're just advertising how amazing the Human Again sequence is when...
It's so amazing. They cut it out of the final product of the film.
But then they were like, LOL JK after it was super big on Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, it doesn't matter if it was in the movie or not, in my opinion.
Honestly, it's not terrible.
No, but
it's just
like,
kinda,
yeah, you can, but again, they cut it out for a reason, because the movie is fine without it.
Yeah. And then I mentioned that, I wrote that there's a brief segment. They did like little interviews with Alan Menken, and he said that it was, like the narrator mentions, that this was one of the last collaborations between Alan Menken and Howard Ashman.
I do remember that part, yeah.
I thought it was really sweet that Alan Menken, they had a little brief blurb from Menken saying that like it was a special moment for Howard Ashman, and I thought that was just really sweet.
Yeah.
And even Don Hahn talks about him a little bit, talking about the ending where the movie is dedicated to him. And then, the ad is from the 2000s when it says it's the only only animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture.
When that moment came on, when it was just like the only animated film to be nominated for Best Picture, I did a Jim Halper look at the camera office moment. Like, sure, buddy.
I mean, it was then. At the very end of the ad, it said it was like coming fall 2002. So I was like, oh.
Fall 2002.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I think there was I had a version of that commercial advertising the special edition version. I think it was on my Monsters Inc. VHS, and it specified Tuesday, October 8th. And I always thought that was strange that a commercial for like a DVD coming out would specify the day of the week it's coming out. So it'd be like Tuesday, October 8th. It's like, huh.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And then they showed Tarzan and Jane, and I say in quotes, shows the animation downgrade back to back with the first movie, because it shows like at the beginning like the animation from the first movie, and of course it's high budget, so it looks amazing, and then it cuts right to the sequel and it looks terrible. They have a super choppy like camera pan around Tarzan and it looks awful.
Oh yeah, the fact that I immediately saw that it said it was going to do a trailer of Tarzan and Jane, and I went no, and then it's just so it starts off showing the majority of the clips just from the original Tarzan, like, hey, wow, I love the original Tarzan, because I do, and then it immediately transitions to fucking Tarzan and Jane clips, and I'm like, oh, night and fucking day. It hurt me so much seeing that.
And then there was the Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, where they did something similar, saying like, oh, look how amazing the first movie was, and then it cuts right to the downgrade.
Yeah.
And what's actually kind of interesting is that, oh no, William died.
There was a little Spanish flea.
Oh, he's coming back.
Because I've been trying to talk since we were still wrapping up the movie.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I need to finish.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when we were still talking about the movie that if I had to criticize anything, it'd be like during the climax how they keep interjecting all the slapstick in the final battle.
Yeah.
Like every time someone gets hit, they throw an A joke.
Yeah, like they literally have a guard do the goofy scream.
Yeah. It's like that's like the real only place where I really feel like the tone whiplash is coming in, because like that's the only part where it really just keeps switching back and forth.
Yeah,
I think the catapult joke is funny.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. Works for me.
No, the Pope.
Of course you.
but
Yeah.
like that's like really the only parts I can really criticize. And like it sells one of my favorite moments in the film being, of course, the big quasi going sanctuary with Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
That's like my favorite shot in the film.
Yeah, I still think though, even though it's out of place, again, like I was saying, I love cringe like that, popping its ugly head out. So I still get a laugh from it being so tonally inappropriate.
Yeah. Also, during the credits, they play the adult contemporary versions of some of the songs, and then at the very end, Jason Alexander or Gargoyle shows him and says, "Good night, everybody."
Yeah, I noticed that. That is the
Yeah.
very first time I actually stayed during the credits. Just because I like watching through credits now, just so then I can pay respect to these people. And then immediately I met
Oh,
with,
they're dead.
I'm still respecting them.
I mean, I'm usually just like letting the credits play anyway because I'm watching this at home and I have my laptop in front of me, so I'm just letting the music play out
Yeah,
at that point
exactly.
as background noise.
Yeah,
So if there's a post credit scene, I'll just see it by happenstance.
yeah, exactly. So that's
And
what
this is what
happened.
post credit scenes used to be back in the day. They were just a joke that they threw in just in case someone's still there as a bonus.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
in the
they'll-
Simpsons movie, they had like them popping up every now and then during the credits, like make a joke, and then at the very end, they like get swept away by like the squeaky voice teenager or something.
Yeah, the
Don't
greatest.
quote me on this,
Oh,
but I
go ahead.
think it might be the first animated Disney movie to have a post credit scene. Don't quote me on that, but I think so.
I'm gonna quote you on that now.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
taking that as fact. So if you're wrong,
Yeah,
it's your
I'm
fault.
taking it as gospel, which is that thing that Furlow used to lie about.
Yeah.
Okay, you do that.
It's like how most people in the South that are racist claim they've read the Bible, but no, they haven't.
Eh.
Da 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 da. Fuck Trump.
Anyway, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2.
Where was Frollo on January 6th at the Festival of Fools?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every
he had
6th
an
of
alibi.
January.
You know what? My immersion is ruined now. It's January and none of these fuckers are wearing a coat outside.
Yeah, wait, do they not have winter over in the France?
No, they did in Bells of Notre Dame. It was snowing.
Yeah, but then why aren't they wearing coats?
Yeah, if the Festival of Fools is the 6th of
My
January.
immersion is ruined.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Valentine's Day special and they're not wearing coats even though it's February. Immersion ruined.
All right, this movie sucks. 0 out of 10.
Yeah, you know what? That's my problem
So-
with Community. It takes place in Colorado during the school year, but they're outside without coats. How
So
dare
Hunchback of
they?
Notre Dame 2. So I remember hearing, I think it was supposed to come out in 1999. And thing about the trailer is that it says introducing Haley Joel Osment. But the thing is, the movie came out in 2002. It was
So he was already known at that point.
yeah. So for some reason, I don't know why, it was just delayed a couple of years. And obviously, before Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 actually officially came out, he was already in Sixth Sense and AI and stuff.
And Kingdom Hearts for a Disney reference.
Yeah, but in some parallel universe, The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 would have been his first movie.
Yeah, and they
sad.
obviously knew he was going to be bigger because I'm sure he's already doing other things. Kingdom
Mhm.
Hearts is probably already in development at that point.
Mhm. And in the trailer, they have like another interview clip with Jennifer Love Hewitt because she voices the love interest.
It is
And she-
so funny.
she sings like the song at the end of the credits, and then she mentions that it's gonna be one of the best love stories you'll ever hear. And I'm like,
You're going to
no.
want to own it and have your family watch it over and over again. I'm just like,
Over and over.
No.
Shut
okay,
up.
okay, Jennifer, star of Munchie, like you have any authority on quality?
I will say though, Hunchback 2 does have a really great bonus feature with A Gargoyle's Life.
Oh,
Do you want to know what that is?
Elaborate,
Sure.
William.
It is
I don't
Jason
know what that is.
Alexander doing slam poetry about being a gargoyle.
Excellent.
It's like 2 minutes long, and it's just Jason Alexander using footage from the first movie and then edited key art of the gargoyles while giving slam poetry about how hard it is to be a gargoyle.
Good.
This is on the second movie for some reason, even though it doesn't use footage from the second movie. Thank you, Disney. Very cool. Michael Eisner would be proud. Come on, Eisner. You made a Xenomorph ride at Disney World, but you didn't make a Hunchback ride where Frollo smites you.
boo!
Did you get to Max Keeble yet?
I'm going to Max Keeble's big move right now. That's literally the next one.
Oh, saving the
Good.
best for last?
Actually, yeah. I forgot
I
it
mean-
actually was. I think it was actually after Tarzan and Jane, but I had the most to say about it, so I saved it for last.
Good.
Yeah, you wrote bullet points about this trailer, you say?
You wrote bullet points about Max Keeble's big move.
Which, to be
And then-
fair, it is the greatest movie ever made, so...
Because I didn't know whether or not you guys were watching this, and I didn't know it was going to become a thing. So the thing is, I wrote, it's the most aggressively 2000s trailer I've seen.
Correct.
It's one of the most aggressive 2000s movies you'll ever see.
And I wrote why. Okay. The one voice actor who was in all the Disney trailers, who actually was the voice, like the narrator, he was actually in all the, he was the one doing the voiceover for all these trailers before this, on this DVD. So he was in all the trailers in the 2000s. They sped up footage, just randomly speeding up footage.
Mm-hmm.
There was early use of the internet.
Yep.
They had wide lenses with the characters uncomfortably close to the camera. They had Max had a crush on a girl who was just a little too old for him. That just kind of feels 2000s. And then there was a food fight because of course there was. Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a great trailer to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I haven't heard you guys mention this, but I looked into it. There was one girl. I looked up the cast list for Max Keeble's big move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The female lead. She was in the Shaggy Dog. She
Oh.
was the rebellious activist teenager.
Goody.
And her character in Max Keeble's big move. Her name is Megan.
Oh.
Hey,
We
You know
can't.
who else is in the trailer?
We can't escape our own lore.
You know, it also has Lil Romeo in it.
That is true.
I
He's
don't know
because
who
he's
that
in the
is.
movie.
That I would assume so.
He's only in one shot in that trailer.
Oh. And then I also wrote that they do the thing where different characters repeat the main character's name in completely separate scenes. And that's actually a pet peeve of mine because that doesn't add anything to the trailer. That doesn't make me want to see it more. I remember they did that for a TV spot in Luca where they just had different characters saying Luca's name, and it annoyed me because I'm like, what's the point of this?
They're acknowledging that that character exists.
And I remember the narrator was saying, like, everyone's talking about Luca. And I'm like, no, they're not.
More people are talking about Max Keeble.
And then also the movie's directed by Tim Hill, who did
Yeah.
Alvin and the Chipmunks,
Mm-hmm.
Hop,
Mm-hmm.
Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties,
Mm-hmm.
Bunch on the Run, and Muppets from Space.
Yes!
Yeah, so greatest movie ever made.
One of those things is not like the other. One of those things is Muppets from Space, which is the best movie ever made.
And that's all I wrote. And the first thing I said was I went down a rabbit hole before the movie even started, but clearly you guys went down a much deeper rabbit hole.
Well, that's because we've also have seen this movie before.
But it's been
Right.
close to 2 decades since I last saw it, so I remember nothing.
Right.
I
So
mean,
apparent-
McGoogle isn't even in the trailer, but like this fucking frog has been lodged into the back of my brain since childhood.
This fucking frog.
I mean, yeah.
Just you saying this fucking frog with your icon makes it 10 times funnier.
McGoogles is me name.
Actually, I think there is like a slight mention to him because I remember in the trailer when I said early use of the internet, they show Max on the computer and there's a frog on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
that-
that's there, but you don't see the show.
right.
I just wish the Blu-ray had the Max Keeble trailer on it, because the Blu-ray trailers they had were, there was one for the Disney Movie Award thing, there was an ad for Epic Mickey 2,
Mhm.
a Radio Disney commercial,
Oh.
a trailer for the Mulan Blu-ray,
Oh.
Super Buddies,
Oh
Oh.
boy.
the Blu-ray release of Peter Pan Returned to Neverland,
Oh.
and then one of the Tinkerbell movies.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
One
Yeah.
of them.
That's a
One of 'em.
sad- I'd probably know which one it is.
It's the one with Tinkerbell.
That's all of them.
What about the second one?
She's in that.
How many are there? Like 10?
I think
5?
6.
6?
6 to 8, I think.
6 to
Hey.
8.
6
I've
to
seen most
8.
of them.
Hey, that's how many Elm Street movies there are.
6 to 8.
Technically, there are. I mean, it depends whether you count Freddy versus Jason.
9.
Yeah.
I guess
Or
my only contribution to this DVD is that I did I did one of the bonus features, the Topsy Turvy Underground game, which is just it's literally, quite literally, just a YouTube poop maker where you take clips from the movie with specific sound effects and you switch around those sound effects. That's all it is, and it's glorious. It's great.
That's me.
I know. So I guess to get into it, yes, that's why I'm keeping this DVD. Just for that alone. I mean, the movie's good too, but
also for the movie.
yeah, but also mostly because of that.
So you're saying you're also going to buy it on Blu-ray so you have the better quality, but then also you want the DVD for the meme.
Yes, maybe.
Buy things twice. I've done that before.
I know you have.
I had to buy like my 4th copy of Godzilla 54 in November because I need the 4K now.
At some point, I will buy the Blu-ray of Hunchback of Notre Dame just so I can have.
You can get it at Walmart.
Oh, nice. Okay, I might do that.
Yeah, it's just at Walmart.
Just so it can look better on my TV. But then I kind of have an attachment to the DVD. Just
You've owned it for so long.
Yeah, because of how many times I've watched it.
No, it's the same thing with me. Like, I don't even get. I'm not even saying the DVD looks that bad either. I think it looks pretty good, but also there is that nostalgic connection you have to early 2000s Disney DVDs, and I just think it's fascinating. And yes, also the YouTube poop maker. It's fantastic.
And I didn't watch this bonus feature, but one of the other bonus features was a multi-language reel of A Guy Like You.
Yeah.
I just looked at that and I'm like, of all the songs from Hunchback of Notre Dame, you decide to do one of A Guy Like You.
Yes.
I think it's probably because it has the most characters singing total. Because like you get to show off all 3 of the gargoyles. So like you get all the different voice actors for that. So it's the most effective at showing the point. That bonus feature is also available on Disney Plus.
And I'm not saying that there aren't multi-language reels of other Hunchback songs. They're not official, but there are multiple, or like there's a good handful of like God Help The Outcast and Hellfire ones. The Hellfire ones are really good.
Well, because it's a good song.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also just fascinating to hear one song in multiple languages.
Yeah. This isn't like a song thing, but like remember like way back Ice Age, the original Ice Age had like a bonus feature that showed like multiple languages for some of the scenes.
I didn't know that. I just think multi-language reels are so cool. I remember hearing the one for Let It Go like 10 years ago, and I've been obsessed over it ever since.
It was like the one time something cool happened at the Oscars when Disney had like all the different voice actresses for Elsa do the one song. There, I complimented Disney on a modern thing for once. Are you happy, world?
Yay!
The Too Many Movies listeners were waiting for the day this would happen.
It's one of the only times they actually deserved something. I mean, I guess they do deserve a lot of things. It's just usually they deserve negativity.
Yeah.
See, you agree with me.
Yeah.
You know what the weird thing is? Like, okay, this is like a different topic. Like, seeing the D23 just kind of happened recently, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just seeing all the people reacting to it, and it's just like all the people cheering at D23, and it's like, I get the sense that like a lot of the big Disney fans who like make it the whole lifestyle just don't give a shit about how the sausage is made. Like, it's so weird to me that there's this whole huge, deep Disney fan base that just seems to not actually care how these movies are made and what goes into them. Because it's like, how can you be this obsessed with something and not be at all interested in how it's made?
Or be at least critical of it.
Yeah, because it's like, and like from my perspective, like being a Godzilla fan, like all of us are just like obsessed with like looking into like, oh, this is that suit or this thing. They reuse parts from this for this sequence. That's the water suit. They filmed it in the big pool. The name of that suit is Sokogeki Goji. And it's like, oh yeah, Subaraya, the back fin on his thing in that shot's actually backwards for some reason. That was like a goof. Just like just looking into all the ways that the movies were made and how they were produced. It's like how can Disney fans not be at all similar to that?
Well, I was at the panel back in was it 2022 for like their big Disney Studios panel where they released all their news for movies and stuff. And I think at least for me, I was clapping for most of it just out of obligation. And I swear to this day, when they mentioned the Lion King remake, I swear I heard some groans in the audience.
You better.
So it's just a matter of how much of that is genuine clapping and how much of it is out of obligation because other people are clapping.
Right.
I guess, yeah. But it's just like, it's just so weird to me because like I see all these other fandoms and it's like they're always caring about how these movies are made. Like horror fans, like they're always talking about like how this effect was done, the makeup, the prosthetics, everything that went into it, the actors. Like, oh yeah, see the way this shot is like it's actually a rotating room set, and like the shot is actually upside down, like stuff like that.
Well, I think for Disney, it's just the consumerism, the merchandise.
I mean, yes, that's literally it. But also, like both my examples, Godzilla and horror, it's like a lot of those guys are also big collectors. Like you see a horror fan on YouTube and their whole fucking room is just posters and figures and the DVDs lining the walls. There's plenty of consumerism there, but it's like I just feel like it's so weird that they make it like their whole lifestyle, and they just seem to not actually care about going deeper.
Yeah, I can see that.
Obviously, I'm not talking about you right now.
I know.
I am.
Oh.
I would never call Olivia a
That's
Disney
unfortunate.
adult because she actually cares about movies.
I kind of consider myself a Disney adult.
You're
mean,
a
I
Disney
literally
connoisseur.
Okay, but like when I think of
mentioned
Disney
Hunchback
adults,
Fine.
what I think of are like the people who are like always blindly cheering, buy everything. They like only ever wear Disney stuff, and those are the only movies they see and watch and care about. This is also partially just because of what our fan bases are.
They got like the Mickey Mouse ears on. They got a fucking Donald Duck T-shirt.
Like
they
they're
can
the only
see their
things people
exposed
watch.
bellies.
Whereas you actually
Okay.
watch other things. You actually care about animation as a media.
You're the one who
guys
introduced us
say
to
that.
You
Tux and
look into
Fanning.
this stuff.
You
Yeah.
guys see that while I have 7 pairs of Mickey ears on my wall right now.
Okay,
Right
yes,
next
but
to
also
me.
you've seen Son of the White Mare.
Yes.
And you've
Can
seen
you say
Faust
that about
Love of
most
the
of the
Damned.
Disney fans?
No.
Do you think other Disney fans care about Hungarian animation from the 80s? Probably not.
There's bound to be one.
We gotta show
you.
them Faust Love of the Damned.
No, I'll show him Tux and Fanny.
No, you should show them Faust Love of the Damned. It's what they deserve.
No, I'll show him Tux and Fanny.
Mm,
No, you know what? I'll show him the Wolf House.
all
I'll
right,
show him.
all right. We'll
Yeah.
compromise.
Yeah, like, you're the reason I saw that movie. And by all accounts, that's a movie I should have found by myself, but you're the one who showed it to me. Well, I guess you didn't actually show it to me, you told me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You actually care about this stuff and look deeper. Whereas for all these other guys, it's like, nope, it begins and ends with Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
my
thank you.
William
Thank you
rant
very
for the
much.
day. I'm gonna go grab a sandwich out of my fridge while we start talking about Perfect Blue. Okay, we're back. I have a sandwich from Wawa.
Oh, is that where you
Nice.
got it from?
Yes, I got a honey hot Italian.
Does it have gabagool on it?
It has Italy on it.
Mm.
Good enough.
Well, that's not Japan.
Place Japan. Wow. Oh yeah, I guess we're talking about a Japanese movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
let's
as
talk
for
Japan.
okay, just to like get this out of the way. I watched it in Japanese with the subtitles. How did you guys watch it?
Subtitled.
The sub. Yeah.
Okay, so we all watched the sub.
I'm not a super big fan of the dub. It's just kind of.
If I have the option to watch the original version, I'll usually just watch the original version
Same.
Exactly.
because like, well, that was the intent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sure the dub is perfectly fine. I just haven't seen that version.
I've seen good dubs done before, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mostly am always going to prefer the original language of a film.
If I'm watching the dub, it's because I've seen the movie a couple times already by that point.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It usually depends. I think lately I've been leaning more towards sub, but if I've already seen the dub, or like previously it was either sub or dub, and I'll just see how I feel. So I've watched the dub a couple times, but now since I've watched it multiple times, I prefer the sub.
For me right now, the only real exception is Belle because that was just the time because in theaters they only had limited times for both of them, and I can only go to a dub showing.
The dub for that was good though.
Yeah, it's a good dub.
So anyway, Perfect Blue.
So Hal, you're the only one who's been blind on this because I've at least watched this a couple of years ago when the Steelbook first came out. And for the record, we all have the G-Kids Steelbook of this.
That is
Yes.
true. Yes, this was my first time watching Perfect Blue after years of hearing it's one of those special animated films.
As someone who watched it about like 6 times, I just want to hear your thoughts first.
It sucks. I hate it.
So
No, I was captivated the whole time. I was.
Hal is the guys at the beginning of the movie watching the Sentai live show.
Yeah.
That wasn't anything like I expected.
Exactly. Yes, the Super Sentai, not the Power Rangers. But yeah, no, I was captivated the whole time. I was like, oh, this is such a good thriller. I thought I was a little worried at times because it is one of those thrillers that does the whole, oh, what's real, what's not, because I feel as though that can be a little much at times where, I don't know, the narrative doesn't seem as coherent. And so it just comes across as like an excuse to just make up whatever the fuck you want. And so it makes it confusing on purpose. But
true.
I think
Yeah.
this movie earned its confusing nature. And even then, it wasn't even that confusing
Yeah.
at times.
It makes it clear that stuff is actually happening.
Yeah, and I was able to tell what was fantasy and what was reality after a certain point. So, and even then, even if I couldn't, I felt as though that was the point of the movie, and it was never obnoxious about it.
Right. So I just love hearing people's first thoughts on the movie because for me, when I rewatch it, it's only for a special occasion because it's a pretty intense movie, so I'll only save it for special occasions, either if it's for something YouTube related like this, or if I'm seeing it in theaters, which was my previous rewatch, that was pretty great, or if I'm watching it with someone who's never seen it before. And I find that's a very fun experience because there was one time I watched it, I showed it to my friends, and it was really fun to hear them saying like, oh, it was just part of the TV show, or oh, it was just a dream. And yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah. Well, even still, even the reality segments still have that fantastical twist to them where it's still bizarre.
I watched the movie a couple of years ago, but like on rewatch, I think it actually got better than it already was. Just because, like, now that you know what's happening, you notice a lot more that's going
You pick up
on.
on a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those movies that like gets better as you rewatch it. And it was already good to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's always nice to know.
Yeah, exactly. So as someone who's only seen it once, I still think it's a great film and it succeeds in exactly what it's attempting.
Yeah.
Right. I think for me, what I picked up on this watch was, I think what terrified me the most about this watch was that coming to the realization that Mima is 21 years old as someone who was currently 21 years old. And I just kind of freaked out about the fact that someone could go through all of that at my age.
Yeah, that's one of the things about also being an idol, because like, I guess they don't really they kind of allude to it, but like, when you're an idol, there are so many restrictions to you and what you can do. Like a big one is like, you are not allowed to publicly be in a relationship because people need to think you're available. Like, you have to be young and pretty. You have to like come across as like all the stuff like they talk about how on the TV show, she's an idol. She's hard to use. Because like she has to maintain that perfect young woman appearance, that cutesy kawaii style. So like we can't have her do anything too big or flashy or rough because she's an idol. But then well, no, she's not an idol anymore. You can do whatever you want.
And another thing I picked up on was, aside from that, I recently read the original light novel that the movie is based on, and it actually kind of goes more into some of that idol culture where there's actually a rival. Okay, so actually there's a rival in the light novel. There's a rival idol named Eri, I think Ochiai, and she's actually in the movie. She's the actress on the TV show that Mima looks up towards. But she's actually in the novel. She's just really rude to Mima, and she, like, I guess, fleeps around. So like they kind of make more of that they show more of that idol culture where you're not supposed to have a relationship. Like she has Ari has secret relationships with people. So yeah, it was pretty interesting to pick up on that on this watch. Just comparing it to the movie and the book is just utterly fascinating.
Because the book goes a lot darker because you can do whatever you want in a book, whereas in the movie you still have like censors.
Oh, absolutely. Ugh. I can't even begin. I feel like you guys can handle anything, so maybe you guys wouldn't be surprised, but the fact that we're not even talking about the movie. Oh,
We're talking about Perfect Blue though, so it's relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean the fact that like the stalker in the book, he's not even named. He's just either described as this. I think he's just described as the man.
Yeah.
And he will like. They actually mention it in the movie where the killer in the TV show Double Bind. They say that the killer peels off the skin of his own victims.
Yeah.
And that's actually what the stalker does in the book.
Nice.
Going for a
Nice.
Leatherface.
And like literally the opening scene, like the first chapter of the book is him like kidnapping a girl, and then later we find out that he killed her, and he has a piece of her skin, and I don't want to go on.
Well, it's a souvenir.
Or his motivations in the book different, because here it's exclusively revolving around Mima. Is he just already a serial killer in the book?
Yeah, he literally kills a little girl, so yes.
Okay, so he's already a killer at that point.
Yes. And then,
whereas this is whereas in the movie, he's basically just a hikikomori shut-in who is obsessed with Mima.
Right. In the light novel, he's more infatuated with idols in general.
Right.
But and then he specifically chooses Mima. I can't remember why, but then
she's the flavor of the week.
Right. And then near the end of the novel, like his main motivation is him wanting to take off her skin and wants to make it his so he can be one with her.
Yeah.
Leatherface, what's your opinion on that?
See, Leatherface. Leatherface is our local expert on taking people's skin off. So
yes, and wearing them.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I kind of prefer the movie version from what I'm hearing, in that he's just obsessed with Mima, because that makes the obsession all the more pathetic, but simultaneously disturbing, because
it keeps it focused.
It keeps it focused, and it also makes it far more terrifying because he's putting all his effort into this one person.
Yeah.
Whereas it sounds like in the book he was just already killing people just cause. So like you get we have to establish that he's killing these other people, so it's less focused on Mima's story.
Yeah.
And in the book they do make a point of him looking really pathetic. But I don't want to go too much into it because I actually do have a video planned of me comparing the differences between the movie and the book, because I just find it utterly fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, even then...
I'll just start off with that, and even then it's pretty extreme.
Even then, I think it makes sense the way that he looks in this movie, because he is utterly a pathetic person, because he's devoting all his time into obsessing this one person. And yes, he does spend a lot of his time on the internet, like hunched over. In 96. Yeah, like 96, 97. Like that, like, obviously people spending all their time on the internet is still considered cringe now, but back in the day, it was mega cringe.
Yeah, because the internet back then also sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just love the whole internet aspect of it, because not a single computer was used in the production of this, so there's no CG or anything. It was all hand-drawn. And going back, so I have the art book for Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I also have the storyboard collection for Perfect Blue. And I've just been like flipping through it and just realizing that every single frame is hand-drawn. Not a single piece of like computer animation in sight.
Because like in anime they wouldn't have started using digital until like the 2000s.
Right. So I took a couple pictures of just random storyboards and sketches and stuff, and I just find that really fascinating. And also the fact that it speaks so, like, it tells such a good story about the internet that's super relevant today, even though it's like 25 years old. And I think I actually heard Satoshi Kon, the director, say that he got a computer after Perfect Blue came out, so he was just about as clueless as the internet while creating this movie.
And he does a good job at showing the dangers of the internet,
Yeah.
even though he didn't have that experience with the internet. So that's
Right.
really a testament.
He understood the assignment.
Yeah, that's really a testament to his skill set as a storyteller, despite him not being as familiar with this specific aspect.
Exactly. And then in the movie itself, I just want to say I love the scene of Rumi telling her the basics of the internet, like what a web page is. And then she asks her, "Do you understand this?" And the Mima says so cheerfully, "Not one bit."
Yeah.
It's really cute.
Yeah. This is the internet. Oh, it's like something we take far for granted nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, it's a testament to Mima's character. Like, even with everything that's happening to her, she's still able to, like, just throughout the day, still be that cheerful, happy self of hers, even when things are getting rough.
Yeah, it wasn't like when her mental state was started declining. I remember it was the scene after, or it was like the day after she got the phone call from the stalker. And like you could tell maybe on the back of her mind because she's nervous about the line in her TV show.
Yeah.
Then, especially the letter saying that, like, I'm always looking into Mima's room. Like, after that, she was still cheerful about it. So,
Well, it's
yeah.
funny because
like, even after the scene that after the one scene from the show was filmed, like, she in the back of the guy's car, she still, like, is cheering happy because she understands that, like, this wasn't real, this was just acting.
Right, but then she goes into her apartment and then finds her Fisher dead, and then that's the
Yeah.
breaking point when she has the breakdown.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting because when she first discovers Mima's room on the internet, she finds this website. Like, I feel if this movie was made now, you'd have the character already be utterly disgusted right away by finding it. But when she finds it, she's just like, "Oh, what's this? This is interesting. Oh, this person thinks exactly like me. Isn't that funny?" It's like,
Like, they know me
no.
so well.
Yeah, they know me so well.
And one detail I like about that is the bullet points. Going back to the bullet points on the website are the same breed as her fish. So, like, the bullet points are the fish that she owns.
As in, they somehow figured out that she has those kinds of fish. Exactly.
Yes.
Backtracking a bit, like, I want to talk about two aspects and things in this scenario that happened earlier that basically set up the entire point and theme of the movie. The first is the reason behind the Sentai scene at the beginning of the movie, because that is there for a purpose.
Yes.
Which Satoshi Kon talks about this in his lecture. The point of that sequence is that, like, you have the people saying, "Well, that was nothing like it how it's supposed to be on TV," and what they're talking about, these people wearing masks on a show, playing a character.
Different identities and stuff.
They're not real. And then further, when Mima is first doing her show, what is her first line?
Who are you?
Excuse me, who are you?
Who are you is her first line.
Yeah.
And also just Rumi's name in general, it's Are You Me?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then also about the Super Sentai show, Satoshi Kon stated that he wanted, it's, aside from, like, the mask thing, it's also there to purposely throw off the audience where they put it in and then it starts with a Power Rangers like show and they start questioning themselves, did I put in the right disc? And then they reveal that it's just a show part of the movie, so it's honestly genius.
And they do live shows like that for Tokusatsu Productions. Like, every year there are Ultraman stage shows. Those are a real thing.
Isn't there an Ultraman movie where it's about an Ultraman show?
Yes, Buster showed that to us.
Yeah, wasn't that my first one?
No, that was Ultraman Zerf was your first one, which is a self-parody.
Right, that's right.
I feel like you could just watch, like, a random episode on Tubi if you want a proper introduction.
Well, it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
On the internet.
Yeah, like Rumi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now
spoilers, I guess we should just establish that now.
Yeah. What did you think of Rumi being the one behind all this?
The twist villain?
Yes, in other words.
I was shocked, actually. And I was impressed because this is, like, what, a 27-year-old movie or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think, because I was watching the movie, and I thought, okay, this stalker character is such an extreme that I don't think he's actually the killer. And I'm thinking,
Really?
maybe, yeah, no, because I'm thinking it's too obvious. And when it comes to mystery thrillers, you want to reveal your actual killer towards the third act. And so I'm thinking, I think it would be far too obvious for the stalker character. But then I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if it was Mima, like herself? And I'm thinking I think that's what they're going for. And then it completely bitch slapped me by being like, no, it was Rumi. And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Because Rumi was like the one character who seemed pretty grounded and caring for Mima.
And would actually know all this information.
Right. And I'm just like, no, wait, I did
That's
not
because
see
she was
that
a past
coming.
idol.
Like,
So the reality is she's helping the stalker guy.
yeah.
She's talking to him and egging him on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
whole
stalker
time.
guy is still doing some really messed up shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I knew that. But I'm just saying, I don't think he was the mastermind. Whereas then it's revealed to be Rumi, and I'm like, oh my God. I was so excited when it happened. I was actually clapping. I was like, this is incredible. What a great actual twist to this thriller. Because now I get to go back and see the movie through a different perspective. I was so excited. I was so excited when that happened.
And like on rewatch, you
Yeah.
actually do like pick up on the subtleties of like how she's reacting to certain things, like when she sighs at some of the scenes that Mima is doing.
Yeah, which again, I saw like when Mima's filming her rape scene, I interpreted Rumi being upset by that just because she cares for Rumi. You know, I wasn't surprised by that. I'm like, oh yeah, she would actually be upset by that. But looking at it from a different perspective, there's a whole other layer to that upset feeling.
I think they only mention it once off the cuff, but they do state Rumi used to be an idol too.
Yeah, Tadokoro is Mima's, I think, manager, and then I think Rumi's the agent. So it was Tadokoro talking to Rumi, saying like, just mentioning how the world is different now when she used to be an idol.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I would, again, off the cuff, I didn't pick up on it. I'm just too focused on what the movie is showing me. And so then when I'm just so happy that I did not see that coming. Like, it's very rare that a twist catches me off guard. And I was just so excited for that. Especially for a movie this old.
Yeah, and the thing is that actually was Satoshi Kon's idea. That wasn't in the book at all.
Oh,
so
great.
Satoshi Kon took it to the extreme, where in the novel she was a past idol and she kind of lives vicariously through Mima as her manager.
Right.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
She's actually really supportive of her transition. But then in the movie, she's really hesitant about it and she's pretty against it. But then she goes to the extreme where she literally believes she's Mima.
Yeah. And I think that's far more fascinating.
It was interesting reading the book where they mentioned the fact that she was a past idol. So I'm like, like the entire book, I was just waiting for Rumi to become the twist villain, but she never did. So, like, just comparing the two adaptations, it was interesting to get something different out of that.
And like now, and with both Rumi and the stalker guy together, it's like they're both fueling each other.
Yeah.
Because like you have her egging him on, saying, I'm the real Mima. You should do this for me. I love you. And then he's like enforcing all that to make it more apparent that like, you're not the real one. This is the real one.
Yeah.
They just make each other stronger.
Yeah, exactly. It's fascinating. Oh, it's so good. Mm-hmm. And I guess to jump a little ahead, while we're on the topic of Rumi, I love her not her death scene because she doesn't die, but like when her wig comes flying off and she goes to she bends down to grab it and she just completely stabs her chest with the glass.
There's a point about that scene to make, but also like I want to talk about like all the big kill scenes first, how all of them have like that similar structure of whenever the blow happens, the movie pauses.
Oh, I noticed
just
that.
To like give that weight of that moment.
Yeah.
So that when they do react, it's so much heavier, and then the blood just fucking gushes.
Oh, dude, when the photographer gets stabbed in the eye with, what was that? That was a screwdriver or something?
The razor, like screwdriver razor or
screwdriver
something.
Razor, and it just, may be interpreting this wrong, but I love his face. It seems almost accepting when he gets it in the eye. He's just like,
A little bit.
and then just the blood explodes. It's great.
Like the
And
stunned realization of just what happened.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, okay.
And I did look it up during this watch. The weapon she used actually is an ice pick, because I just assumed it was a screwdriver too. But I've heard over the years that it was like a screwdriver and ice pick. And I even heard
Lobotomy.
letter
I mean, regardless, he did get screwed.
Yeah.
through. And then
Which
I
is
heard,
fitting
like,
because he's a guy who once tries to make people take pictures of themselves getting screwed.
Exactly.
yeah. And then at one point I heard letter opener, but then during this watch specifically, I paused on a frame where the weapon was in frame, and I just looked up ice pick, and yeah, it's an ice pick, because I didn't really know what an ice pick looked like. But
Every time I hear someone say letter opener, I just think of that one clip from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody
I was
with
thinking the scene
Mr.
from
Mosby and the
Ratatouille.
giant sword. This is a
thinking-
letter opener for very big letter.
I was thinking the scene of Ratatouille where Skinner opens the letter, and then it's the meme. You know?
I
This
am
is a
aware.
letter opener for very big letters. Thank you, Mr. Mosby. Very cool.
Very cool.
But yeah, I always have to cover my eyes during the big.
The big blood
Kills.
gush. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's when I'm most interested. When it's just like,
Ugh.
and I'm like,
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like one of the most impactful ones is the one without any blood at all, with the stalker himself when he gets hit with the hammer.
Oh,
Because like,
Oh.
there's not
yeah.
really much blood there, but like, you know that like, yeah, you just got hit with a fucking hammer.
Definitely
You're
got
done.
Well, so the weird thing about that is that there's no blood, and he
Yeah.
just stops moving. And I almost interpreted it as being a fantasy where she can't kill him, but then he does fall over, and I'm like, is he actually dead?
Oh, because it'd be like internal.
Yeah, but it caught me off guard because there was no blood explosion, and so I really felt as though that moment kind of had me on the edge of my seat the most, because there was no blood to confirm that he was going to die. So I was just kind of held in suspension, going, what's going to happen? And I mean, he died because he got a hammer to the head, so logistically he died.
Yeah. Well, we
I'm
also see his dead body later because Rumi does kill him off screen for real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Spectacular.
I think at some point after he got the literal blow to the head, I think at some point he walked off, and then that's when Rumi found him as maybe as Mima, maybe as her, I'm not sure, and then just killed him.
Yeah.
Because then
Yeah.
she puts his body with the agent guy.
Right. And just, I'm thinking about like the characters who have their eyes gouged out.
Oh,
and-
it's
ugh.
great. Oh, I
Yeah.
love. So who's the first guy to get his eyes gouged out? It's
He's the screenwriter.
the screenwriter. That's it. Yeah,
Screenwriter.
because
I think
In the elevator.
in the elevator, yeah. Because that's when he's in the parking garage, and he hears their song playing on the radio, and he opens up the elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Can I just say, Angel of Love slaps. Like, I genuinely love that song. It's the Japanese. It's the song that plays during
Yeah.
the elevator
Yeah.
scene, and at the beginning, it unironically slaps.
I think the Blu-ray has
that
a
was nice.
lyric video for that song, right?
It might, yeah.
I don't know if there's a lyric video, but there is.
There's
in the
something
bonus,
for it.
in the bonus features, there is a recording session, and then they also have
Okay.
the English version, which is
Okay.
part of the reason why I'm not so keen on the English version. Just the Japanese version is much better.
Yeah, it's far better.
Mhm.
Well, the way a Japanese song and English song will be structured would have to be different because like they can't rhyme the same way now because of how those languages work.
Yeah,
Right.
they're practically
like-
different words.
Because
And
like if you
almost
literally translated a song from Japanese to English, it would not fit at all. So you basically have to like now basically write a whole new song with the same meaning.
Right. And the other character I think of is the photographer when Mima is hallucinating when she's on double bind, and like the director or whoever says like, what did he say? Like, breathe harder than you did in rehearsals, but
Yeah.
she imagines the body on stage to be the photographer, and he looks at the camera and he smiles and he has his eye. I hate that. Ugh.
It's great.
I hate that shot. I mean, it's great, but I hate it. And
Yeah.
then she just passes out.
You know what my favorite shot in the movie is?
Hmm.
It's when Rumi and Mima have the big final conversation in the room when like she first learns it's Rumi, and like we see Rumi as like fake Mima, and they're grappling with each other, and then Mima grabs Rumi's throat, and then her face slowly transforms
Oh.
from Mima into Rumi.
I
Yeah,
love that so much.
I literally had that in my
Yeah.
notes. Just the fact that just the way her face morphs, and it's oh my
So
gosh.
seamless.
Seamless, and it's spectacular because I love how distinguishable their faces are from each other.
Because her eyes are just very far apart in the other ends of her
She
head.
is a strange looking woman to begin with, and so it is a lot freakier when you see Mima's face transform into Rumi's.
It's also very funny, and when you see like the reflections of them, and like in the reflection you see fake Mima gracefully jumping through, but then you have the reality of Rumi is like huffing and puffing, struggling to keep up.
It's great. Oh, I love the dichotomy of that.
Which makes you wonder, was Rumi actually trying to jump from lamppost to lamppost?
Yeah, I want to see that.
Okay, I just love the general character animation of Virtual Mima. I think that's like her official name, the fake Mima, the imaginary one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love the shot of her jumping on the lamppost. I think I just love the way she moves, and there's one shot where real Mima is chasing after fake Mima, where it's the scene where she goes to the radio station and her two Pop Idol members are having and then she like chases her out, and I love
and
that.
And then like she passes by the people that work there, but then real Mima bumps into them for real.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the scene where she gets hit by a truck.
Right, and then there's that one shot of the puddle where we have Virtual Mima. She like barely steps on it, and then a couple seconds go by, and the real Mima comes by, and she like stomps on it with her bare foot, and I just love that.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, it's great.
Showing what's distinguishable in reality and not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I guess the whole thing's a fantasy, so it doesn't matter.
And like,
I don't think every single scene that Virtual Mima is in, I don't think that's actually Rumi. I think her introductory scene where she's in the monitor and then she comes out and like hops on every lamppost, I don't think that's actually
right. That's probably a hallucination.
Rumi. Yeah, I don't think that would be Rumi, but I think
it'd be funny. But
oh, absolutely. But yeah, no, I think that's just Mima being kind of really twisted by her own hallucinations.
And then Rumi takes advantage of it.
Yes.
Right. And I think at the end of the movie when Rumi is revealed to be the twist villain, I think that's actually Rumi, but Mima is in such a broken mental state that she just believes it's Virtual Mima to that point.
Well, that's why it shows that's why the mirror is on that side of the room where Rumi is, to show that it is actually Rumi.
Right. But I think all the other times before that, it was just a hallucination.
Yeah, I don't think there were times before that where it was actually Rumi.
Because by that point, because Rumi is also having her slow descent of madness as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the stalker feel her desires as she feel his.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, going off, like during one of those scenes, a Virtual Mima scene, there's a scene of Tadakoro driving Mima in the tunnel, and then he basically just tells her to smile or something, and she looks at the reflection and does a fake smile, and then that's when fake Mima shows up.
Yeah.
And I think I just think that's so great.
That's when she like jumps out of the taxi to try and see if it was actually fake Mima, and he's just like, get back in the taxi, get back in the car.
In the lecture series, what William mentioned, that's part of the bonus features. It was just Satoshi Kon talking about a bunch of various scenes, and he talked about that scene, and he threw around a couple ideas of who was driving Virtual Mima. I don't think he said it was actually true, but he kind of liked at some point it was an idea that thrown out that the person driving Virtual Mima was Virtual Tadakoro.
I thought it was just a random car that just drove by, and then she just hallucinated that there was a fake Mima in there.
But like, you could again, he says that not his interpretation isn't the end all be all. He thinks his interpretation is a interpretation.
Yeah.
He thinks you could see it as any way you like. But if there was an actual person driving there who would have been driving the car, and there was an idea thrown out, that would have been him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of goofy, but
I think that's goofy, but it also kind of muddies it, where it's like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Yeah, but
Right.
but I am
Doesn't really-
glad that he does specify that it's not the be all end all interpretation. I think that's a very huge thing for a creator of a film or a story or of anything.
Leaving it up to interpretation.
Yeah, being confident in that you're okay with other people interpreting your story a different way than what you intended.
Yeah. I mean, that's also partially why you would keep it open in the first place,
Exactly.
because you want to see that happen.
Yeah, you want to see what people come up with.
And like to go back to when Rumi and Meme are having their big chase at the end, the shot of like when she has to go for the wig, the way I see that is like in that moment the facade is broken and Rumi can't handle it.
Yeah.
So she chooses to want to be Mima, so she chases after the wig to reclaim that personality, and in doing so, she seals her fate by getting stabbed by the glass.
Like getting stabbed by the glass. It's great because as she was bending over into the glass, I'm just like, yeah, do it. And then it just explodes in blood. It's
And
amazing.
Just the squish sound.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, it's disgusting.
And just a couple seconds of that delay where it's just, oh.
Because
And especially the shot of her, just her frozen face upon those like shards of glass, and it takes a couple seconds for her, almost all her innards to just bleh.
Yeah, she realizes,
It's
shit.
glorious scene in the movie.
Yeah, that too.
Mhm.
And then, like, I'm sure you guys noticed, picked up on this too, but like when the truck is coming out at the end, she does the exact same pose that Mima did at the beginning of the movie during the Cham concert.
I've seen
Could-
that shot when talked about Perfect Blue. That is a shot that's always brought up of her doing that kind of pose, and she's covered in
Oh, the one
blood.
with the butter.
Yeah, and
That's
I
like the most
yeah, it's one of the
famous, most famous shot in the movie.
yeah, one of the
probably.
most iconic shots. And I was thinking, like, how is that scene gonna come up in context of the movie? And then I finally see it. It's like, oh, it's not even Mima technically, it's Rumi. But
Well, I wasn't talking about that specific shot of her touching her face. I meant like immediately after that, when the truck is coming right out and you see her in front of the headlights.
oh yeah, when she's
Because
doing
thought
when she
that
does
way for
the
audience.
yes,
Yeah, when she does the exact same pose Mima does.
Yeah,
to
she-
bookend
Right.
the film.
yeah. Oh, it's great.
It
One
also
of the-
just you go.
sorry, one of the pictures I took, I flipped through it like just before we were recording. I did take a picture of the scene where she takes it's the iconic like blood shot, and I just found it kind of fascinating that it's only like you can see it's only one drawing, and it's just, I think it's kind of fascinating that it ended up being so iconic that they don't linger on it for too long. Like it's just kind of there.
Yeah.
I do also think like the final line in the film was also very satisfying, because like you have Mima visiting Rumi at the mental ward or whatever it is, and like you see the two other people saying, "Is that Mima, the celebrity? No, it's supposed to be a lookalike. She wouldn't be in a place like here." And then you just have Rumi looking in the mirror, going, "No, I'm real."
So,
And it's just such a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
So what was your opinion on that? Because I've heard different things.
so the opinion on what, like the final shot.
The ending,
Yeah.
basically, in general.
So I like that Rumi lives and she's just relegated to being in a mental hospital for the rest of her life. And I like there's a specific line one of the doctors says where they say that Rumi is just another personality for her, so it's not even her main personality. I kind of like that.
Mm.
I think that's an
Mhm.
interesting idea, just
I believe like
to kind of leave the audience with.
she looks in the mirror at 1.2 and sees fake Mima in her reflection,
She-
right?
she does.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Oh wait, no, yes. When Rumi sees fake Mima,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I do remember
Because
that.
she's so far gone that there's no point coming back.
Yeah. That's great. I love that. But yeah, when Mima gets in the car and she hears the other people saying like, "Oh, that wouldn't actually be Mima. She's not. She doesn't seem like the type who would be here. That's probably a body double." And then she goes, "Nope, I'm real." And then it just hard cuts to the credits. It is kind of a bizarre ending considering
Yeah.
the film we just saw, but I feel like I love it because of that, because it's such a bizarre way to end the movie, just having the main character being like, "Nope, I'm real," and then hard cut to credits. I like that.
I like it because it's her reaffirming that, like, no, this is me.
Yes.
Like taking back control of her life.
Yeah, and I think because the whole movie has just been so miserable up until then, you kind of need to give the main character a moment of genuine genuine clarity and just a genuinely nice moment for her just to
Right.
end the movie on. I like that.
So I kind of thought you two were going to go more of the darker route, that it wasn't Mima at all. Because I think my interpretation is, like, I feel like it's simplistic. I just like to imagine that Mima got away completely, like she was completely innocent in all of this. She didn't do any of the murdering or anything. She was just having a very rough day,
Yeah.
and she was able to grow from that. And something I heard, I don't really believe it, but and I haven't heard Satoshi Kon say it, so I don't know, but I read somewhere that apparently her saying no, I'm the real thing was apparently said by Rumi's voice actress.
Is that
I read it somewhere. I tried hearing it this time to see if I could tell any difference. I don't think I could.
And then Mimo looks up and says, "Watch the stars."
And then she says, "If they build it, they will come."
And Satoshi, he does talk about it in the lecture series. I mean, he talks about the final scene, but not that specifically. So that's why I don't know if it's true. But he mentions that he thinks the Mima we see in the final shot isn't technically the real Mima, because it's
a reflection.
Right, because she's not looking into the camera, she's looking at a reflection.
Right.
And then he also mentioned that technically he doesn't think it's her, because as human beings we're always growing. He said something about how we're always having our values destroyed and we're always growing from that. So technically he doesn't think it's the real her because she's still growing.
Well, then by that logic, she wouldn't be the true Mima until she literally dies then. In which case,
Right.
sure.
Well, it's a matter of keeping it open to interpretation.
Right.
It's like John Carpenter is never going to reveal whether or not thing or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Because why would you do that?
Yeah, there's no point. Yeah, that's not what the ending is about. Yeah, I guess with that, with Satoshi Kon giving that interpretation, yes, you can have that as an interpretation. I just think that's that's such a bizarre way of looking at it.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I guess you can. I don't think I would go that far.
I don't think I would either, and I've probably heard at some point that all of this was a dream, nothing all of this happened. And I don't like the thought of it being all a dream, because that just sucks the fun out of it.
Yeah, I think you can do an entire dream movie. Like I've been a total champion for dream movies this whole podcast. The whole time.
And you're watching a whole series of them next month.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, you can do that with certain movies where you can interpret them as dreams. I feel like this one entirely a dream. I don't entirely subscribe to that. No.
Me neither.
Because I think with a story like this, you need that grounded reality in order for there to be this genuine mystery around what is real and what's not. So something like The Shining, I would say you could interpret as an entire dream, because that's I feel like you can interpret it that way. Whereas I feel like with this, like I said, you definitely need that grounded story. You need that grounded reality to come back to. And so I feel as though, yeah, I would not interpret it as just being like, oh, it was all a dream the whole time. It's like, no, it was a dream part of the time.
Stuff definitely happened.
Yeah. Stuff definitely happened. I agree.
Things happened. The end.
Yeah.
Yes.
That can only describe this movie and no other movie.
And then, well, I already told you guys, but I wanted to mention it for the listeners, that the fact that this movie was in production during the Bjork stalker case.
That's true.
Like, all of that, it was just some guy who was really obsessed with Bjork.
Yeah.
He sent a package bomb to her, just for context. Sent a package bomb to her, didn't go, and he sent a package bomb to her hoping it would kill her, and then he killed himself hoping they'd be together in the afterlife. But obviously she didn't get killed, it was detonated. But just the fact that that happened a year before a movie where an idol is getting stalked and
Yeah.
she gets a package bomb delivered to her.
I mean, it is a real thing. Like, people will
Yeah.
become obsessed with celebrities.
Yeah,
to
like I
that
have to wonder
extent.
how often that happened for idols before, because I
Yeah.
have to imagine it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like I know, like in the season of Agretzko where she becomes an idol for 5 minutes, like towards the end of the season, a guy who's like a super fan of her walks up to her and pulls a knife out on her and
Yeah.
tries to stab her.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that even right now with Chappelle Roan. Like, I know she's like super popular at the moment. Like she recently spoke out about having to set those boundaries that
Because you guys are fucking weird. Let me alone.
Yeah.
exactly.
Let me live.
Yeah.
I'm just making my funny country cabaret songs.
Oh, is that what she makes?
Kinda.
Okay.
Honestly, I haven't listened to any of her songs. I just know about the video. But I also
I've
mentioned
heard
earlier,
clips.
I mentioned earlier that Mima was 21 in this,
Mhm.
and that kind of terrified me. And then after
She's
I
older than
mentioned,
Quasi.
By a
Yeah.
year.
and then I mentioned the Bjork stalker to you guys, and I started looking into him
Yeah.
further, and I found out he died when he was 21. So
Yep.
I was like, oh my,
Yeah, he was very young when he released the best of him, to say the least.
There was
Just-
best of him.
Well, no. So
Oh.
the video of him when he kills himself, there's a poster board behind him that says
right.
"the best of me" pointing down, and the point is he was supposed to blow his brains out, and his brains were supposed to splatter all over
but the
that.
gun wasn't powerful
Oh.
enough.
But the blast wasn't powerful enough, so nothing really got on the poster, which is hilariously
Very
ironic. Yeah, it's so funny.
Just don't be a creepy stalker.
Yeah,
Easy.
it's actually very easy to not be a creepy stalker.
It just scares me that someone my age could devolve into such.
I mean, I feel
Have
like
you ever heard of this thing called the alt-right rabbit hole?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing though, is that I feel as though deterioration of the mind can happen at any age when you really
Yeah.
like.
Mhm.
But yes, I think you are at an age where you're not a teenager anymore, but you aren't exactly.
You're still learning.
You're still learning because you only have been a legal adult for so many years,
Mhm.
and it is a very interesting time, to say the least.
Well, it's also
Look at
hard
us.
for me
We're
to-
still stupid.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that Mima's 21 because I feel like I spent some of my high school in quarantine. Like my entire senior year was in quarantine, and then like when quarantine started, it was the last couple months of my junior year. So I feel like I've just missed the last couple of those important years.
That actually does like bring up something I wanted to bring up during this section.
Mhm.
I off the cuff called the stalker dude a hikikomori, which if you don't know what that is, they're effectively young men who are functionally shut-ins
Yeah.
who rarely ever try to go outside at all, and they live in their room, and like within that they can easily like become like obsessed with like anime and porn and stuff like
Oh, so
that.
it is mania.
And like the pandemic made that a lot worse for a lot of people. And what I wanted to bring up was 10 years ago, there was a music video that went viral. Oh, it was by the producer Teddy Lloyd, and it's called Me, Me, Me. How are you familiar with this?
Maybe go elaborate further.
So,
Yeah.
like, it was a music video that went viral back in 2014, and basically, it went viral because, like, there's a bunch of sexy anime girls in it. That's why people care
Right.
about, but, like, what it's actually about is it's about a man who is shut in his room, a hikikomori,
Yeah.
and through that becomes addicted to, like, porn and anime girls. But, like, he tries to break
Uh-huh.
out. It's established like how he got into because he had a bad breakup with his girlfriend, and he sees her in all the women he looks at,
Mhm.
and he's trying to break out desperately, but he keeps falling back in the same cycle. Oh, and the video has a perfect loop in it because it ends where it begins.
Right.
I rewatched it for this. You can't watch it on YouTube anymore because there's titty everywhere. So you have to look up like the Internet Archive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like that's what it's about there.
I mean, yeah, that is a genuine yeah, and like you said, Olivia, with the pandemic, I feel as though people in our age range was were shifted back 10 years because of the pandemic in terms of social skills.
Like, yeah, I feel like I'm missing a couple years.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Fucked everything up.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
did. So, but even still, like, this was a thing that came out in 97, this movie. Obviously, this has been an issue for decades.
Ever.
Right. But now I think because of the age of the internet and because of COVID, I think it's been 10 times worse. Yes.
Yeah.
It also like just makes it more apparent because there's now a
Yes.
spotlight shining on it.
Yeah, so now you can easily identify it now more than ever. Which I guess is kind of a silver lining. At least you can at least know when someone is obsessed to that point and suffering. Yeah, you can actually at least you can point it out more easily than you could, 10 or 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. There's more sympathy for it.
Yeah, that too. I think because it is seen as a mental illness.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
and hopefully you can help those people.
Right. I think there is a certain line where it should be villainized, but obviously it is a mental illness and people do suffer from it.
And I mentioned, so I said the stalker's name is Me Mania. That's like his screen name, and then I think his actual name is Uchida. But the thing is, in the dub, just another reason why the dub kind of irks me. For some reason, they pronounce it Memania.
What?
Yeah. They say Memania.
So it's an older dub, I'm assuming, right?
I'm assuming it came out around the same time as the original movie. I don't know, but they say Memania, even though it's spelled like Me Mania.
I'm assuming if it was back in the 90s, they probably were only basing it on the script and didn't hear it. Because that sounds like a snafu that would have been made back then. Whereas today, there's a lot more care put into these things, so they would probably know how it's actually pronounced.
These sound like people who pronounce it at Wikipedia.
It's like the snafu of if you're only reading the L and R's in Japanese, it's like you might screw up which one it's supposed to be.
Right.
But I feel like just seeing the word Me-mania, you can see it's pronounced Me-mania.
Plus the fact,
correct.
Me-mania sounds...
Mania is an English word.
But mania is in the word, and this guy is a maniac, so... I think context clues and common sense.
He's a maniac.
Oh yeah.
The answer is that because Viz fucked up in the late 90s and early 2000s, they still have to call him Zolo even today in this translation. There was also like a copyright thing with the Zorro movies apparently, but like
Oh, Zorro.
Huh. Interesting.
Perfect Blue, good movie.
I agree.
Indeed.
And it's a great steelbook. I think I'm kind of bothered that the cover is not the classic Perfect Blue cover. It's Mima.
Her laying down.
Yeah, it's not her laying down. There's just the iconic Perfect Blue poster. But
right, but like for my perspective, it's like if you're doing the special steelbook, it should be different artwork.
Sure.
Because it's a big collectible thing.
Well,
whereas like if I just wanted the basic artwork, I just get the basic release.
Well, also here's my other annoyance with it. The cover is not blue. It's purple.
Well, I mean the back.
How dare they?
I that's what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, it's in the inside of my room, so I don't know for sure, but
it's like a purple.
Maybe we're all colorblind. I see like a very dark blue.
I don't see a dark blue. I see like a brownish purple.
I don't know. Sometimes people will say something's a purple when I see a pink, and sometimes it'll be the other way around.
Are we all just colorblind? Like every single human being?
I feel like everyone sees colors slightly differently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, actually, there is... I don't know if you guys flipped through it, but there is a little booklet that comes with it.
I did, actually.
Yeah.
And it comes with little... like promo art and
stuff.
Yeah,
it shows like the promo trading cards that came out back in the 90s and stuff.
Which the fact that this movie of all movies has trading cards is so funny to me.
Amazing. And they actually, I'm looking through it right now, but they actually show the same pictures in the storyboard collection. They show, it's all in Japanese, so at first I didn't put two and two together until I was looking at the booklet. I assumed it was just fan art because I've seen it over the years and I couldn't tell whether or not it was official. But it's nice to know that it was official promotional art, and all the captions are like the entire book is in Japanese. So I'm just I really just bought it for the pictures.
Yeah.
But
That's okay. I'm getting that record of -1 book soon, and that's all in Japanese.
This book of pretty pictures is real nice looking.
Because I have this storyboard collection, and then I have the one for the Tale of the Princess Kaguya, and that's also all in Japanese.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to see, like, the making of.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it's like you see the scripts, you see the behind the scenes, so you see the storyboards. That's all you really need.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I would like to understand the notes someday. I guess I just have to learn.
I mean,
Japanese now.
you can also just download the Google Translate app on your phone.
True, but how
It wouldn't be
reliable is that?
perfect, but like it'll get you the gist.
Yeah, it'd get you 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you know
It's
what else is really fun about this movie? It's cool. Originally, this wasn't even supposed to be in theaters.
Yeah,
It was originally an OVA.
Mm-hmm.
But then they got a big increase in budget and said, "All right, fuck it, let's go."
Let's put it in theaters.
That's why the rape scene is so gratuitous.
Because
It's actually
OVAs were original. Because you guys know what OVAs are, right?
Original video animation.
Yes, they were a big market in Japan back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that's why that's why there's a JoJo
above
OVA.
TV, but not quite theatrical.
Like direct to video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And Satoshi Kon actually did say that he regrets making the rape scene as long as it is because that's like when they were making it, that's when I was still an OVA, so they just assumed they had to stand out in some way because OVAs didn't get as much publicity back then.
Because it was only like television and ads, trails before other things on video, magazines.
Right.
I mean, I think it does need to be an uncomfortable scene, though, is the thing. So, yeah, it is horrible to see it keep going, even though we know it's all simulated. But even still, I think I think you need to feel uncomfortable when you see it, though.
Mm-hmm.
But
like,
I understand like the
simulated,
idea of
but then-
regret, though, because
I mean, I feel it's also like 10 years after the fact too.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah,
you
hindsight's
have to really look at it.
Hindsight's 2020, but also I think he did it as tastefully as he could, though.
Yeah,
that was the breaking I mentioned earlier. Like that was, well, I mean, technically, seeing her fish die was the breaking point of her breaking.
but
down.
it's the inciting incident.
Yeah.
Right.
Do we have anything else we want to say, or do we want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely keeping the steelbook. I'll say that, just because I think the
Steelbook.
movie's fantastic, and I can't wait to watch it again.
And I did have something so I noticed at the very beginning when the fans are talking about Mima's last appearance at Cham, and I like that you can tell that the cells are moving because they don't have as big as a budget as American animation, so you can tell when it's just a couple of frames moving.
Yeah.
See, like even occasionally throughout the movie, I could see some scratches on cells and stuff, but just the fact that it was super low budget, just seeing that kind of gives it some charm.
Yeah, I like a movie with charm.
Yeah, and this movie has that and then some.
Yeah.
You also has a neat bonus feature on the Blu-ray. It has the original SD version too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I've never seen that before.
Now that's a power move.
Yeah, they include both the HD restoration and also the original VHS version, I guess.
Good.
Oh, I do know there is a YouTube video where they compare the HD and standard definition, like high and standard definition back to back, and it's pretty interesting to see the differences. But
Which
I mean,
is like why they still include it.
Yeah, but I mean, I just watched the high definition.
I mean, yeah. Why would you go out of your way to watch a standard version outside of it?
Just for the novelty, or like you've already seen the other version enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You just want to see it.
I guess that's why they added it.
Yeah, which, hey,
because it's a bonus feature.
Novelty. I love novelty.
Exactly.
All novel your tea.
I'm sure you will.
What?
It's William. I believe him.
I'm writing a book about leaves.
Leaves are my favorite subject.
Oh, so I forgot to mention. So my notes for Hunchback were titled "The Hunchback of Notre Dame."
Yes.
But then my notes for Perfect Blue were just Perfect Full of Notes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, you know, I
Wasn't
thought you were
afraid
about.
of it.
I thought you had like a really
Yeah.
big, clever thing to show us, but no, it's just perfect notes.
I was waiting
Notes.
the whole episode when you said, "Hey, I have something really funny for that. I'm going to reveal it at the end." It's like, "Oh, I can't wait to see the clever wordplay that Olivia came up with," and you just completely bitch slapped me with that.
Or no, it's not perfect notes. It's perfect BL and then hyphen notes.
Oh, that makes it so much better.
I feel like that's worse at that point. Perfect notes, not even perfect blokes. No, you have to add the specific extra syllable to it.
Olivia, are you proud of yourself?
I am indubitably.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
proud of you too. Don't worry.
I couldn't think of anything else better.
I could think of one thing better.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
No, you want to know what's better than that?
What?
I'll tell you it's better than that. It's none other than the one, the
Max
only.
Keeble's Big Move.
Oh no, we're starting the Max Keeble's big movie.
Oh
You
my
guys
God.
haven't even shouted out your stuff yet.
I'm shouting out Max Keeble's big move.
All right. All right, folks, we got to go. We got to watch Max Keeble's big move. So we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
You guys
Bye,
know our
everybody.
stuff, so bye, Barbies.
Just for you.